Okay. Okay. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Three, two, one. Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Before we get started, as always, I want to give a shout out to the lovely music we've been listening to during pre-stream here. This is Dreamer by Declan DP. You can find the information in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. Thank you to Declan and everybody like him who makes either free-to-use or low-cost assets for us streamers so we can have better streams. Thank you so very much. But yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever it is in your part of the world. I am Deuscain, your variety-type streamer for the night. And tonight we are returning to Ambition, A Minute in Power, a strategy, resource management style game set at the dawn of the French Revolution, where we are Yvette Ducot, actually, we technically aren't a noble. We're like a peasant woman from the rural areas who came to the big city of Paris to meet our fiancé who fucking ghosted us. And we've learned how to navigate the streets of Paris. We've learned how to sell gossip to the newspapers in order to make a living. We found our fiancé, and he's fucking crazy. He thinks that the King of France should abdicate to the Habsburg family. It's nuts. It makes no sense. And we were courting this very nice corporal in the army who got fucking shot for being too good of a boy. So instead we're dating this really nice widow who's a little bit demanding, but we kind of like it. Anyway, we are done with chapter 1. We have punished our rival. We are somewhere in chapter 2, and I have no idea what's going to happen here. But yeah, let's jump back into the game. See what we can get going with it. Yeah, let me get it booted up on my end. No. Yes, there we go. There we are. But the music's not playing on stream's end. Do I have it muted? I have it muted, yes. There it is. My. Yeah, it's been about 2 weeks since we played this game. I have to kind of take stock of what's going on. Oh, we have a party tonight. And then... we're meeting the widow Honorade that day, and we have a party the next day. You have to go to the company party. This is bourgeoisie. Yes, because I want to try and push them closer to the revolution, because I want our widow to live. We have 188 lira, which is enough for rent, but I'm going to have to sell some gossip soon to make money. And then there's church party tonight. So, journals. Do we have any quests? No requests for Pierre, but we do have some gossip here. Ooh, outrageous bourgeoisie and church gossip. I like it. Shocking revolution gossip. Nice. Lots of peril. Anyway, to the party. Provincial outfit doesn't help us. Helps us a bit. No. 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 No, but we dig it. That explains some things. I'm like, why is it so blurry? It looks terrible. There we go. The game's not blurry anymore. Why did it put me on that weird resolution? That's so odd. Anyway, provincial outfit. The church likes it. Let's go to the party. Let's straight to the party. Your level of restfulness has not altered your credibility. Your choice of outfit has altered your credibility. You've gained a piece of cheap church gossip. Here, have some wine. And reduce my peril, which is very high. I forget why. Bunch of potential gossip. Shocking bourgeoisie gossip. Shocking out and outrageous church gossip. This one's lower peril. None of it actually reduces my peril at all, does it? This one might. But it also is the only one that can get me cheap church gossip, which I don't want. You know what? I want to get the church on side with the revolution. Or not the revolution, the crown. So, this one. Bonjour, Madame Ducot, says an unfamiliar young man as he approaches you. I hope this isn't too forward, but I require your help in a social endeavor. It's a gentleman over yonder who has close ties to the newly chosen Bishop of Grenoble. He continues, pointing discreetly at the targeted question. I have urgent business with him, but I fare far better if I were introduced by someone as well regarded as yourself. Could you assist me? Someone's approaching you for a task like this, it perhaps means you have truly well become established in Paris. If you're careful, it might be possible to use the situation to obtain some church gossip. I'm not sure if I can do that until I know you better and what you've been up to. I need something in return. Rumors regarding the church, perhaps? Let's do this one. What have you been up to? Of course, you can't risk your reputation on a stranger who simply approaches you at a party. You talk with him briefly, asking seemingly innocent questions about his involvement with the church and why he'd want to get closer to the bishop. This process helps you put together some of the last details of a rumor you'd overheard earlier. Outrageous church gossip! Once you've gotten what you wanted, you smoothly introduce him to the targeted question. In but a few minutes, the two of them are talking together as though they've known each other for their entire lives. Now the conversation no longer requires you. You quietly slip away and leave them to their business. All things considered, that went quite well. So that's a new picture I haven't seen before. You're approached by a woman who's playing an unusual game with the host. The strange game is conducted in secret, but also uniquely suited to your sort of talents. Not sure. I'll bite. Searching for someone? Excusez-moi, I'm playing a game of sorts. Someone has placed a small pewter statue of a dragon here, and I'm hoping to find it. Your accent is foreign, but you can't place it. Somewhere to the east? Have you managed to see anything like that? No, I haven't seen it, but it sounds like the hunt is on. May I join you? Ah, yes it is. You gain credibility? I must admit, I'm growing a little frustrated with this stage of the hunt. Hunting for the dragon statue is a certain thrill, but the real fun is stealing it. I can think of nothing more intriguing. Let's get to work, shall we? I found my partner in crime. Now, shall we find the statue? Two of you walk around together, appearing to focus on idle small talk. In reality, you're both searching the venue high and low for your quarry. In the back of the venue, you happen to find your prize perched on a podium. A servant is dusting it very carefully. She eyes you suspiciously as you circling her, looking for some gap in her attention. Pair up! No! I must say, I'm just surprised that he liked the statue I gave him so much. Partner in crime whispers to you, if we want to steal that back, we need to distract this maid. Can I help you two, madames? The maid asks, polite but suspicious. In fact, you can. There's been a terrible spill in the vestibule. Can you help clean it up? A spill in the vestibule? Oh, it must be those blockheaded lads bringing in the extra wine. I told them not to bring anything through the main entrance. Maid hurries away from both of you in the general direction of the vestibule, leaving the two of you to your quarry. That was amazing. You managed to get rid of her so naturally. I'll have to write all of this down. Your erstwhile companion hisses at you excitedly while she secrets the prize amongst the waist pockets under the folds of her dress. Her skirts. Oh, right. She was like an author or something, wasn't she? You managed to reply with an appropriate enigmatic smile. Oh, by the way, I've heard of some of the other guests. You are a woman who trades in gossip and rumors. Last night over dinner, I heard something you might be interested in. She then proceeds to relate to you in some interesting things about the bourgeoisie. You can't help but cock an eyebrow at some of the fine details of this gossip. If it's true, it might make quite the story for Pierre. You've gained shocking bourgeoisie gossip. Well, it seems our game is over. Hopefully I'll see you again before I return to St. Petersburg. Nika. She leaves and you're left wondering what you should be able to do at this party that was more fun than that. If nothing else, you're looking forward to finding out. Bishop has called for the censoring of an opera critical of the church. The king has signaled his assent, but it's taken weeks to make a pronouncement. Is the king taking the request seriously or ignoring it? The king has been sending his personal representatives to Rome to negotiate with the Pope. Is he moving closer to the Holy Father or snubbing the clergy of France by ignoring them? A group of vintners are preparing a petition to reduce taxes on wine. Are they trying to make things affordable for the common man or just increasing their profit margins? The 31st of May, 1789. Good morning, madame. Rent is due. Here, take our rent. Merci beaucoup, madame. Ah, madame, thank God you've arrived. I've been keenly checking the winds of the public opinion, and my finely honed journalistic senses tell me our readership desperately cries out for stories concerning the revolution. However, I'm at a loss of such information. Get me fresh gossip in 12 days.
Ooh.
Fine. It is no longer fresh. Alright. Sell that. Oh, he counted it as fresh. Increase or decrease the power of the church. Peddle influence. Increase the power of the church. Because I don't want to sell too much at one time, otherwise people figure out it's me. There. Also, we'll see if selling 3 triggers the newspaper thing the next day. It does not. Alright. So I have 2 more days. Journal. The church is aligned with the crown. I need to strengthen the crown by a lot. And the bourgeoisie is strongly aligned with the revolution, and I need to sway that too. Explore Paris. Stories about the church. Yes, I can do that. Cheap church gossip. There you go. Sway the allegiance of the church. Increase or decrease the power of the bourgeoisie. Sway the allegiance of the bourgeoisie. Bourgeoisie towards crown. It'll influence to push the church towards the crown greatly. I think that was 3 that day too. Okay. Alright, so I got honorata tomorrow. Bourgeoisie, arrest day. And a revolution party. And then something's gonna happen. I don't know what. Armand has requested your assistance with the mysterious Frankish Habsburg in society. Or better or worse, this Johanna woman might be there. Fine. Don't want to deal with Johanna. It's not a long walk to the address Armand provided in the letter, but you wait until nighttime before you head out. He said that these notable persons are in Paris attending the Estates General, which means they'd only be free later in the day when they were out of session. You find the address, you see it's a tavern, but there's very little light coming inside. The front door is shut, along with a sign that reads, "Closed for private event." You knock on the door. A slot on the top of the door snaps open. A pair of skeptical eyes glare out at you from the opening. Through the slot, you hear the sound of multiple people speaking in low voices. Who are you, and what do you want? I am Yvette Ducot, and I am told I've been expected. I see. Please come in. The slot slams shut, the door opens, you step inside. It takes a few minutes for your eyes to adjust to the dark interior. Turn around and examine the person guarding the door and come to face with Marcelle's doorman. Bonsoir, madame, he says, shifting awkwardly from foot to foot. Merci beaucoup. Where can I find Armand? We have much to discuss. Oh, right this way. Armand looks up from his conversation. Thank you, Jerome. Jerome? Jerome. I'll take it from here.
Ooh.
Thank you for coming. Oh, we got a hug. Yay. Here are the plans for tonight. We have all the guests who are in France for the Estates General who are representing the various estates. While they know the general agenda of our society, they naturally have their reservations about joining us. Yes, because you're committing treason. So I've called a special meeting tonight, but Johanna is not going to be... But Johanna is going to be helping you, alright? I've been called into a special meeting, but Johanna is going to be helping you. A special meeting, you say? Sounds interesting. Oh, but it is, he replies before dropping his voice to a low whisper. But I can't name any names. It is someone on the King's Privy Council. Someone who speaks with His Majesty regularly. Well, we obviously need all the support we can get. Someone like this could change our fortunes overnight. Do I look nervous? I feel like I look nervous. Darling, you do look nervous. Take a moment to gather your wits. Nervous? You? You're Baron Armand de Marbo. You are made for this very moment. Do, you are right. What am I worrying about? I must be off. There's work to be done. Gain favor with Armand. He departs. You head off in search of Johanna and the guest he mentioned. However, when you do locate her, it appears she's already started the conversation without you. As a man representing the second estate, such a traditional and storied lineage, I understand this must be difficult for you. Johanna says, her words flowing like honey. Well, yes, my family has proudly served all the strongest kings of France. However, His Majesty does not appear to be cut from the same cloth. He vacillates, issuing stern decrees in the morning, then retracting them at the first sign of resistance by supper time. It's embarrassing. Whatever happened to the days of I am the state? But I can assure you, Monsieur, that bringing France under the wing of Austria would strengthen France, the monarchy, and the nobility as a whole. Joseph II is a strong emperor working to consolidate power, not let it disperse to undeserving inferiors. Yeah, this bitch. This fucking bitch right here. This bitch is trying to take our man. I have a mind to let her. Dude's fucking crazy. Well, madame, if this emperor is consolidating power, how would I benefit at all? A nobleman's power extends from their lord. A strong lord makes you stronger by proxy. Our power extends from our lord. You sound like the tutors from my childhood, but your point is well made. It's exactly what has been going wrong in this country. We're at a point of crisis, and all attempts to look to His Majesty for leadership have left us wanting. We need a strong ruler, wherever we can find it. Madame Dujardin, you have my support. I'll send a lackey to your address tomorrow morning to arrange a personal meeting, where we can discuss details. He leaves, a cheery expression on his face. Johanna's, on the other hand, is one of barely concealed shock. Huh. That was certainly a deft maneuver, she manages. It appears Armand was right about you. You'll gain favor with Armand. Fucking give me favor with her. Let me date the villain. Without another word, Johanna strides over to the next guest. Refusing to outdone, you hurry after her, trying to keep pace. The guest is younger and carries the sober bearing of a representative of the third estate. He's both highly agitated and aggressively serious in equal measure. Johanna unfolds her fan and whispers to you behind it. Just follow my example and we'll have this done quickly. Bonsoir, monsieur. I am Johanna Dujardin. I've been told you are a well-respected judge from... Hainaut? Bordering the Austrian Netherlands. Is this why you've been so gracious to show an interest in our humble society? You are very well informed, he admits. Admittedly, my family extends beyond France to the other side of the border, but this has been a source of some of my interests. However, I'm still deeply concerned about the future. By all accounts, I agree with Joseph II, especially his edicts of religious tolerance. It always sounds good to let man take on more power. But what about the man who will someday come after him? What guarantee do we have of the next man's ability and good intentions? See, I like the third answer of there's no such thing as a guaranteed future, some things require faith, but I don't think that helps. We've already endured that under Louis XVI. Surely they should let us choose a better man today. choice of kings, he asks, almost confused by your point. It is certainly a unique opportunity, he admits. One that would allow us to have stability of an established ruler, but to cast off the weights of a failing regime. Of course, we don't intend to stop here. There should be some certainty. There should certainly be a continuous process to guide France to a more stable future. He shakes his head declared, I must take my leave, as I'm needed early tomorrow. However, I will reach out to you, Madame Dujardin, and we can discuss details. You can also bet your life that I will be part of your continuous process. Oh, I would only be satisfied with your continued enthusiastic involvement. He leaves stern, but obviously energized. I can't tell if that was bravery or complete lack of caution, but it certainly worked for now. I suppose Armand should know how well you've done. Yeah. Why am I celebrating getting involved with these people? These are terrible people. I'm going to probably end up getting them killed. Afterwards, the two of you mill around together, concerned only with observing the gathering as other members of the Frankish Habsburg Society do their work. You and Johanna make utterly worthless small talk with one another while waiting for some issue or crisis to unfold. Thankfully, none does. An hour and a half later. Armand, you left us with your side girl for an hour and a half while you went and took care... Armand, you wiped that smile off your face. You son of a bitch. Bounds over to both of you. I come bearing spectacular news. Our special guest from His Majesty's Privy Council understands this completely. He has already sworn to make sure that the Queen attends every Privy Council meeting and will urge her to reach out to her family in Austria. This couldn't possibly have gone better for us. Oh, Armand, that's wonderful news. I'm glad I picked you for this. You and I should go out to celebrate our victory. No. Listen here, Snake. Armand hesitates, looks at you, worried. Johanna, are you sure that's what you meant? Absolutely. You and I have accomplished great things today, and we'll accomplish even more tomorrow. It only makes sense for the two of us to go out and celebrate. She replies, but her voice sounds less certain than it did before. Isn't this what we... that isn't what we... We'll discuss it back at the house. Ooh. Tension. Let's do this. Huh. You're right, she says levelly to Armand, but her eyes stay focused on you. We have a lot to discuss. I am his fiancé, madame. With that, Johanna turns and leaves, just leaving you and Armand as things filter out. Jerome starts clearing up, but you studiously ignore him. I'm sorry, Johanna and I have spent so long working together. I guess she... Trust me, I understand how easy it is to fall in love with you. She's smart enough to know better. What about you? Are you interested in her? That's my man. That's what worries me, he agrees. She's absolutely smarter than that. She founded this whole society, recruited most of its members, and got it all to this point. Then again, intellect has a way of failing at the worst possible time. Two of you stand around together, watching the party continue to disperse, holding each other's hand. He sighs and gives you a quick kiss on your forehead. Sorry, but I must go. At this time of night, the patrols are going to start picking up soon, and I can't risk getting questioned by any of the authorities. Please visit me soon. I want to do something together with you. Just you and me. No politics, I swear. Foreign powers now available for you to visit on the Paris map. After one last embrace, the two of you part ways, and you head home. For now, the walk will be short. All this progress feels like something coming to a head, but what? You know, all that being said, all the sass I'm giving him for, you know, having someone on the side, it's time to go see a widow. Rendezvous. It has been in the first half of the day getting ready. You head out for your rendezvous. You feel exhausted as soon as you step out the door. Credibility down. That's fine. Honorade arrived long before you did. Noticing you, she approaches and stands far closer than the rules of politeness might allow. You'd forgotten how good she is at looming over people. This is very pleasing, she says, looking at you through narrowed eyes as she slowly circles you like a panther. You've done quite well. You've gained a staggering amount of favor with Madame Gazelle. Turning her attention from you, she surveys the location. I absolutely adore this place. The food is exquisite. The lavish decor is excellent. And you know how much I love being served. Gained a little bit of favor with Madame Gazelle. It seems that Madame Gazelle already knows the staff quite well and has solid rapport. She orders for you, but the food they give you is exquisite. At one point, the owner comes out to speak with both of you. He cuts a comical figure. He and Madame Gazelle know each other well, and he has a special dessert brought to your table as a gift. The two of you split it, and she lets you have the lion's share. A few hours later, you realize it's starting to get late, and the two of you depart together. Looking at Madame Gazelle, you feel like today went quite well. Yeah, buddy! How much favor do I have with her? Does it show me any? I need to weaken that. But I've got the church and the military aligned with the crown, so that's good. I just need to establish more power with the crown. And perhaps make the military more loyal. Other than that, it's doing quite well. 2 levels of exhaustion is not great for a party. I must sleep tomorrow if the game will allow me. And bourgeoisie party. And this is my best outfit for this. Exhausted, minus 10 credibility. Yeah, ain't no fix for that. Party time! As your carriage nears the party, you consider taking one last moment to go to the party. Credibility's up. Take the money for wine. Let the games begin! I have 2 choices. Cheap gossip. Cheap gossip. Anything that'll reduce peril? Ooh, these are slightly better gossips. Honorade. The stranger disapproves deeply of your romantic decisions. However, in conflict there is passion. Get honorade. I need money, honestly. We're gonna go here, get some gossip. Pardon, Madame Ducot, you don't know me, but I come to request a favor. I don't know exactly what I could provide in return, but I am a successful physician. I came to this party with the express intention of introducing myself to a particular woman, but I haven't managed to do so, and it appears she's leaving any minute now. Could you provide me with an introduction? But before you ask, yes, I realize how strange it is for me to approach one unfamiliar woman because I'm nervous to approach a different one. Well, it's merely that, well, I don't know. I suppose fear has always been divorced from reason. Admitted it, you see. If a stranger is asking you for your help, it really must mean you become well established in Paris. At least there's that. Yes, information.
Ooh.
He gives you rumors about his clients. Outrageous bourgeoisie gossip. Introduce him. The opening of their conversation is inept but earnest. Alright. Honorade. Cheap gossip. Cheap gossip. Cheap gossip. This is the least perilous one. Circling the party, you see an interesting group of people. The conversation is flying between them quickly and easily. The perfect opportunity to obtain gossip.
Huh.
However, just as you start to approach them, you get stopped by a woman you've never seen before. A moment of your time, please. She says in a tone that suggests you don't actually have a choice. Madame Ducot, I'm a little curious as to how you fit in with all of this. You maintain a diplomatically neutral facial expression. Take a deep sip of your wine. Here it comes, the lecture. The bourgeoisie is a unique group, as we're the only one who has to maintain their status once they achieve it. The aristocracy are born to their titles will keep them no matter how poor they become or how effective they wield their power. Members of the military are considered veterans for life. We're not like them. Every single day is a struggle to maintain our status. There can be no rest for us because everything we do matters.
Huh.
Everyone here deserves to be here. Why do you? Oh, Madame Gazelle. I'm just getting started.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking forward to seeing the results. Credibility up. Cheap gossip. Alright. Coalition members of the bourgeoisie have been investing a large amount of money in hot air balloons. Seen that one before. Some of Paris' foremost industrials have been trying to deregulate the price of bread. Is this to allow bakers to have money to make more bread, or is it to profiteer off hunger? Some representatives of the Third Estate have gotten free rooms to stay in from a prominent hotelier. However, they've been staying for a long time. Is this a sign of friendship, or are the representatives taking advantage of the host? Apparel down, money down, credibility. I need to fucking sleep tomorrow. 'Cause God. And I have enough to pay my servants, and then I have a party the day after. And then something's gonna happen. Home. Visit. Rest. Remove exhaustion. Ooh, Andrade. On the 11th. Yes. So sometime next week. Alright, time to go to a revolutionary party. I had an outfit for this. This was the best I had. Right, because I didn't like them very much. Oh well. Head to the party.
Huh.
Take this money. That's peril. Antoine favor. Never let me go a lot of their parties, so. That's gossip. That's more gossip. This is the best conversation. I'm not starting up a relationship with a revolutionary. As you walk around another circle of the party, you find yourself disappointed by the mundanity of conversations you overhear. Who knew that such a hotbed of revolutionaries could be so dry? At the height of your boredom, you notice a pair of women withdrawing from the crowd to talk. One of them glances over her shoulder to make sure she isn't being followed, which is always a good sign. You're drawn to them as if you had stumbled upon an oasis in the desert. Should you go first or should I? As I am fond of my revolutionary colleagues, I've heard some unsettling things of late. I simply don't know who I can confide in. I wish I could offer some comfort, but I'm in a similar situation, albeit among the bourgeoisie. If anyone found out what I knew, their wrath would be swift. It sounds like the kind of swift wrath you're all too familiar with due to your work with Pierre. Of course, that means something you are at least able to navigate with some familiarity. It seems that if neither of us has an avenue for recourse then. You don't need to be a mistress of intrigues to see that both of these people need someone to bear their contents of their heart to. Normally, purloining these secrets would test your abilities, but this feels like the effort would be trivial. However, this doesn't mean that their fears are unfounded in any way. By learning these secrets, it's likely you'll face some reprisals from either the revolution or the bourgeoisie. Bourgeoisie. You follow the heiress as she departs from her companion. It's your duty to do if she's alone, after all. You catch up with her just as she's about to go outside and get some air. Have we met before? Her smile is a hastily assembled mask. Doesn't take long before she realizes you're more than sympathetic to any woes she might have. Soon she's explaining the latest actions of the bourgeoisie that have been tugging at her conscience. Outrageous bourgeoisie gossip. Naturally, that doesn't mean you can evade the scrutiny that comes with prying into this particular case. You're sure the consequences will come back to haunt you and quickly. You've lost favor with Madame Gazelle. Damn it. The conversation that follows is fascinating in its own way. Even with all she's learned, she's still extremely passionate about the ideals of the bourgeoisie and has embraced them with all her heart. Only shocking and outrageous gossip. I like that. Cheap gossip. All flavors of gossip and the same guy that I don't want to talk to. Bonsoir, Madame Ducot. You're just the woman I'm looking for. Where I'm not here to ask anything that's too untoward.
Oh,
You see, there's a man I wish to speak with about the political future of the revolution. He's notoriously untrusting of strangers. I'm hoping you might introduce me to him. He subtly points to a man who looks eerily similar to himself. Yes, tell me things. But of course, after all, the man you're introducing to is likely to do the same, no? Well, I might as well get warmed up before the main event. There's very little effort to guide this particular conversation. Fills in the gaps of a rumor you'd heard earlier. Outrageous revolution gossip. They do look the same, yes. And the two of them just look so alike, it's almost concerning. Perhaps you've simply attended too many parties. Regardless, you have what you came for, and you've already filled your own obligations. You politely excuse yourself and leave them to whatever verbal sparring they have planned next. Alright. What's the revolution gossip? An aristocrat challenged a prominent revolutionary thinker to a duel of honor, who dismissed the challenge as barbaric. Is this thinker an enlightened man discarding old unlawful traditions, or simply a coward? A wealthy financier thinks the revolutionaries need to focus their efforts on drafting a constitution. Is he a pragmatic friend of the revolution, or a dismissive bore? A book salesman was recently arrested for printing profane criticisms of the royal family. Is this punishment for vulgar slander, or a repression of necessary criticism? Good morning, madame. Rent is due. Here. Alright. I can explore Paris, and the emptiness of my social calendar, considering how full it was before, worries me tremendously. Let's go peddle some gossip. Oh, thank God you arrived. Things about the revolution. 8 days, yes. Reduce my peril, Monsieur. Sell that gossip. Peril down. Alright. I got some really stale old gossip. Let's peddle this influence to push the bourgeoisie towards the crown. And sell this gossip. And then head home. And I will be back tomorrow, monsieur. You pause to read the... Oh, crap. Peril up. Credibility down. I've been selling too much information. Ooh. Military. Absolutely accept. I want them on side. Something fierce. Foreign powers? Oh, so date with Armand. Stories about the revolution. 5 days.
Ooh.
I guess still have some information. Fine. Outrageous revolution gossip. Here you go. Peril down. Peril that you increased, you son of a bitch. Alright. I don't want to increase the bourgeoisie power without getting them on side, so I'll just take the money and leave today after selling 2 stories. Another party with the revolution, that's fine. Always can do stuff there. A little wardrobe looking. I have a couple that the military likes. Let's go to the cafe. Because that should help get me updated on the status of everything. And I think it gets rid of a level of exhaustion.
Huh.
Welcome back. One house coffee. It becomes obvious the crown is significantly more powerful than the revolution. While it may be possible for the revolution to make the crown give in to their demands, they would have to build strong alliances with their factions in order to do so. Certain the military is the most powerful of all the minor factions. They strongly support the royal family. In the quarter is trying to use verses from the Bible to justify the church's right to avoid taxation. It's hard to hear him over the sound of jeering patrons. We're drawn into a conversation about the military and the church. Given the rising tensions, the patriotic citizens are questioning the loyalties of the priests. The Catholic Church is a foreign government with its own laws. More pious people claim the question itself is blasphemy, that a priest's first duty is always to the people of their parish. Yeah, I'm gonna back the people with guns. At least one of the people in discussion feels dissatisfied with the answer, but not everybody seems... at least one person feels satisfied, but not everybody seems pleased. You're certain your opinions will be known by everyone in Paris by the time the next morning comes around. Yes. Military good. I don't care if I piss off the church. The guns people like me. During the revolution. Alright. Updated journal. Yeah, the military is very strong. I say is still leaning towards the revolution. I gotta change that if I can. What is this? Alright. Thank God you've arrived. Tell me stories about the revolution. Pierre. Fine, I'll do what I can. 3 lira. 30. 30 and... yeah, let's decrease the power very slightly. Oh yeah, it's widow time. Somebody getting ready. You're decent in both directions. She got here long before us. She's very happy. You've gained a staggering amount of favor with her. You gained some favor. The same dialogue as before. I wish I had like a bar or some kind of metric to like know how much some of these people like me. Alphabetical faction favor. Yes, clearly. Here's request, revolution gossip, 7 days left. Explore Paris. Ooh, favor with Elizabeth. Yeah, we're gonna help the painter, because I also like her. Walking the crowded streets of Paris, you gasp in the oppressive heat. Every time you inhale, it feels like you can smell every single person around you. Just as you feel the relief of a cool breeze, you notice something out of the corner of your eye. It's Elizabeth, the painter, and she's talking to someone through an open door. Her foot is firmly planted in the doorway.
Huh.
No, Miss Joy, this is a joke. I'm willing to pay a very reasonable price for it, and... Ow! She yelps as the door slams underfoot, leaping back as she recoils with pain. Before she can put herself back in harm's way, the door shuts with a bang. Are you alright? What was that about? Who is this man, and how would you like me to burn his house down? Oh, I love that third answer. I'm fine. This isn't even the first time this has happened today. Years and years ago, when I was just getting started as an artist, I was caught up painting portraits without a license. Yes, really, that's illegal. Don't laugh. Not only did I have to pay a mountain of fines that I could barely afford, the black mark on my reputation nearly cost me my career before it started. However, all my old paintings are still circulating, and the fact that they're still out there doesn't look good for me, so I'm trying to buy them all back. As you can see, some of my old customers aren't fond of the idea. Sure, just give her a chance. She is trying to maintain her reputation. Someone uncertainly shuffling around the other side of the door. What does your reputation have to do with my painting? Need to buy it back because I sort of made it illegally. I never meant to deceive you, but please, let me be rid of it. But I like the portrait. My wife commissioned it for my birthday. Oh, well, what if I painted you a new one instead? Only if you still pay for the old painting, he grumbles. Ugh, fine. The two of them spend the better part of the next 10 minutes sorting out the specific details, of which there seem to be many. Eventually, they reach something mutually agreeable. He goes back inside. After a long pause, Elizabeth breathes a sigh of relief. Thank you, Yvette. I'm amazed you managed to get him to see sense. This is going to make things a lot easier for me. You've gained a decent amount of favor with Elizabeth. The two of you walk and talk together, still riding the energy of your success. Eventually, you part ways, and you head home. Yeah. Honorade wants to see me again on the 18th. It's like every... Oh, God. That's a triple in a row. Oh, that's bad. Military Revolution Honorade. Oof. Oof. Credibility change, nothing else. Luciano Honorade. Elizabeth. Or let's go do foreign powers today, actually. Stretch. After nightfall, you join Armand at his home on the other side of Paris. He has promised you a surprise of some sort. It had better be that woman's head in a bag. You wait until late evening before you walk to Armand's home. He told you it's something special for you, and it isn't related to politics. The very possibility of this brings a giggle to your lips. You're fairly certain that just being to engage Armand has made you more informed about the political landscape of France than some ministers in Versailles. You can't help talking about it, and you soak up knowledge without even trying to do it. When you finally arrive, you knock at the door, but there's no answer. Wait for a while before knocking again, more insistently this time. Come in, the door's unlocked. You hear him call from inside. Well, that's certainly unlike him already. Should men conspiring against the king leave their doors unlocked? You step inside and find the house more cleaned up than the last time you were here. While it still has the Spartan feeling of an outpost, at least all the books and papers have been organized into reasonable piles. Armand calls from the direction of the kitchen. Please make yourself at home, ma chérie. You manage to find a seat at the dining room table, which has been cleaned off but has been covered with a fresh tablecloth. There's a bottle of red wine already uncorked, which has been left out to breathe on the table. Goddamn. After a few minutes, Armand steps out of the kitchen holding 2 clay bowls. I hope you're hungry for... cassoulet? Well then, but why are you looking at me like that? Oh, I was just admiring your new choices in fashion. Are you planning on making yourself decent anytime soon? Armand, what happened to your shirt? God, he has heart-shaped chest hair. You little bitch. Oh, I'm admiring your new choices in fashion. I'm glad you find it appetizing, he says, then puts the bowls in your spots and takes a seat. He pauses to pour you both some wine. Looking more closely at the bottle, you immediately recognize it as the same vintage you shared at Le Cine the night before Armand left for Paris. The night feels like a lifetime ago. To long-awaited reunions chasing our dreams, he toasts. You both clink glasses and drink deeply. It tastes exactly as you remember, and brings a flood of memories with it. You dig into the hearty stew of duck, sausage, and white beans. It's not hot cuisine, but it's flavorful and satisfying. As you can tell, I've learned how to cook myself. At the risk of sounding arrogant, I have to say that I've taken to it quite well. Though no matter how good I'll get, I must admit I'll always miss Camille's cooking. That little maid is astonishing in the kitchen. I certainly envy you for still having her. Speaking of which, how are you finding her? She's an absolute delight. She's always so unusual. Does that ever stop? If you miss her so much, you could always visit. No, she's delightful.
Ooh.
Isn't she, though? There were days when I thought her absolutely mad, but I was eventually charmed by her indefatigable optimism. Getting fib with Armand. The conversation dies for a moment as you both finish your meals. At the very end, you use a small hunk of bread to sop up the remaining stew. It tastes still absolutely delightful. I wanted to thank you one last time for joining us at our event. I promise to stay away from politics, so I'll not delve into the details, but it was lovely to have your support. Seeing you there made me proud. I also wanted to say I'm sorry about Johanna. I'm worried about her. After that night, I think she's been getting worse, not better. I know she's not given a good account of herself to you so far, but when we first met, she wasn't like this. She was adventurous, daring, and always so full of energy for the society and our plans. She was inspiring, like nothing was impossible. Then again, whenever you came up in conversation, she would always find a way to switch subjects, and I just assumed she was more interested in our work than personal affairs. You dumb himbo! The night after event, she and I had a serious quarrel. She started screaming about everything she'd sacrificed. She kept saying that this was her last and only chance. She's barely spoken to me since then. I understand at least some of it. She's single-mindedly financed this whole venture. I suppose that gives her the right to be controlling. To the devil with her, you're not her servant. What do you think she meant by a last and only chance? I'm a gossip monger, that's what I'm going to go for. He pauses to think, dredging up old memories and viewing them in a new light. While I don't know for certain, my theory is that she has bankrupted herself funding the society. She must also believe that some great reward awaits her at the end of this, and if this fails, she will be left with nothing. You've gained a little favor with Armand. Together the two of you nearly finish the bottle of wine without skipping a beat. Armand produces another one, nearly identical. He refills both glasses. Dinner brings with it an almost overpowering sense of familiarity, like the conversations you had in the village together only took place but a few minutes ago, and now you're just picking up exactly where you left off. You look up from your wine to see Armand staring at you with ferocious intensity. It appears the dinner's over, yet I believe we are still hungry. Yeah, no, you deal with your side chick before I give you anything. I still feel like it would be best to wait.
Huh.
As you wish, my dear. I am but a slave to your whims and the throes of passion, he says, as he stands up and begins to clear off the table. As you takes your plate, he gives you a light kiss on the forehead before departing to the kitchen. You gain favor with Armand. Ma chérie, he calls from the kitchen. If you don't mind, I'm going to take some of these leftovers upstairs to Johanna's room, so she has something to eat when she gets back. It might serve as a decent olive branch. You shrug and leave him to it. You're not exactly dying of thirst after all. Upstairs, you hear the sound of breaking pottery, followed by a string of frantic cursing. He runs downstairs, eyes wide with shock. Johanna's room is completely empty. She must have moved out completely in the middle of the night. That is not a good sign. I'll look into this later, but I'm going to tell you a secret just in case. He hands you a letter from his pocket before continuing in a low voice. Johanna Dujardin's real name is Johanna von Holberg. She doesn't know yet that I've learned this about her. Look down at the letter and see the name Johanna von Holberg at the signature, but you can't read the rest of it as it's written in German. I've researched the name a little on my own, and to my knowledge it appears that the von Holbergs are an Austrian noble family in deep decline. It might explain why she started the society, as she might hope that it could reverse her family's fortunes. I still believe in the righteousness of our cause, but it's likely what has kept her so driven. You think of the signet ring of hers you found in the house. The mysterious sigil is likely her family's crest. She wanted Armand to have it because it would be enough to have the people of Austria help her. That means her family must be relatively well known. I'm telling you this because I'm worried she might do something extreme. Johanna may be a lot of things, but forgiving is not one of them. If something occurs, we should be prepared. Merde. And just start reaching out to everyone else in the society. I need to make sure that they're still safe. I'm sorry, ma chérie, but I need to depart immediately. If there's any consolation, I'll be able to walk you halfway home. Outside, the two of you walk together in an awkward silence. The mood of the evening has certainly taken some sharp turns. Finally, as you find yourself about halfway home, Armand turns to you and says, I believe this is where we must part ways. Good night, my love. Please be sure to stay safe. Because when your cheek, he departs into the night to rally his fellow Habsburgians. As he disappears into the darkness, you wonder when you'll see him next. Our fiancé's side hoe went crazy. Good morning, madame.
Ah.
Here's your money. I have 3 events this week and nothing else to do. No kiss for you. We kiss her. We kiss her. I don't really want to kiss him. The soldier, yes. The ladies, yes. Not you, you're crazy. Not you, you're a priest. Stop kissing people. My goodness. Alright. Explore Paris. Credibility. Lyra. So I know what some of these do. Like this one gives me gossip, but this is clothing. What does the theater give us? I'll check this one out. Today you decide to explore Boulevard du Temple. It's a place in the city best known for theaters. You stroll down the street hoping to find... You finally find what you're looking for. The best known theater in the city, specializing in 2 things: comedies and skirting the absolute limits of good taste. Out of sheer curiosity, you step inside. There's some production going on at the moment, but you see actors and carpenters rushing around to ready the theater for its next show tonight. The frantic energy is only amplified by the sight of a hapless young man trying to corral a dancing monkey back into his cage. The monkey doesn't seem interested in cooperating. When you finally tire of watching the monkey shriek at its handler and pelt them with scraps of fruit, you take out your pencil and journal to jot down the address of the theater. It is now an available rendezvous location. It's like the perfect place to visit with someone that loves to laugh, someone that isn't afraid of liking things that are a little bawdy and low brow. Okay, so it opens up as a date location, but the only person I'm dating is the widow, who I don't think would approve. Which was that? Yes. I do have a level of exhaustion. This is gonna hurt. If I'm not fully rested. Elizabeth or Luciano. Luciano. Yeah, let's check this place out. Deciding to explore Paris today, you stroll on the southern banks of the River Seine. Barges sail up and down the river, jogging for position with the pleasure crafts of the wealthy, and the occasional floating bathhouse. What? A merry patron of one such bathhouse waves to you from the comforts of his tub. Just as you cross the street, you spot a vacant clearing ahead of you. Looking at the well-manicured greenery, you realize you've arrived at Jardin des Plantes. It's beautiful and tranquil, a lush respite from the bustle and cacophony of the city. Couples strolled through the park on arm in arm. Furtive glances and nods of respect are exchanged between passing groups as people put forth their best efforts to see and be seen. Pulling out your journal, you jot down the location. It'd be nice to get a break from Paris sometime. Okay. Elizabeth and Luciano. Circus might be a place. Let's just go home. It's free to recover that. So rest now, rest after the next 3 days of parties. And we'll be golden. Or we won't be. For the last few weeks, discussion in the States General have been dragging out and growing ever more divisive. Wait, no, I was supposed to hang out with the military today. Shit! I need them on side. Enraged by the unfair representation, representatives of the Third Estate have created their own body called the National Assembly and invited members of other states to join them in negotiations on what would, in theory, be fairer ground. That is, of course, in direct conflict with the orders of the king, who has determined the voting system that's used in the Estates General. The nobility of the First Estate have been called on the Crown to issue a swift and decisive condemnation of this rebellious act. However, His Majesty King Louis XVI has yet to issue an official statement on the National Assembly. Reports suggest that he has instead chosen to spend the last few days in long meetings with courtiers of his Privy Council, trying to reach a decision. And so, in Paris, life goes on. Oh, okay, that's fine. Nothing went bad. That's good. But yes, the National Assembly is a big deal. And having that stuff fall apart and happen is also a big deal. Yeah. To the party.
Huh.
Reduce my peril. Let the games begin. 3 levels of gossip. Lowest level of gossip. Crown gossip. Chief gossip. This is literally my best option. Oh, I have 4 rounds this time. Nice. At the moment you're chatting with a woman who seems to be in possession of exactly the kind of rumors you're looking for. Her brother is an artilleryman who happens to gamble like a fiend and loves telling stories about the latest indecorous goings-on he overhears in the process. She hasn't got to the details yet. You know that whatever outrageous rumors she's heard will concern the military. Just as you learn what you need to know, another woman suddenly wanders into your conversation. Have you two heard that these flowers were gifted by the Duchess du Torzel? I have no idea. Were they from her personal gardens? You can feel the conversation pulling away, but you don't have what you need yet. Ah, that ties in so well with the story that my friend was just telling. What I was telling? Oh, I had no idea. Please go on. Yes, where was I? Outrageous military gossip. I've carefully committed a story to memory. You will need to remain in this conversation for a little while, as exceeding the moment you get what you want would arouse far too much suspicion. Just as you feared, this new interloper is extremely tiresome. Shocking and outrageous gossip. I like that. Crown. There's a lot of gossip potential there. Lowest tier. Chance to reduce Elizabeth favor. Seems like the best one here. Bonjour, Madame Ducot. You are in fact Yvette Ducot, no? I have a problem, you see. My father brought me here, and there's a gentleman over there who I'd greatly like to speak with. However, my father is a retired colonel, and there are certain expectations of us. I can't be seen approaching some gentleman I don't know. I'm told that you can help. That you seem to know everyone in Paris, and you have no fear of accusations of impropriety. Can you help me? What the fuck? If that is truly your reputation now, then perhaps you really have established yourself in Paris. If your father is a retired colonel, there's also an important opportunity to acquire military gossip. Sure. Tell me things. Outrageous military gossip. With your objective secured, you take her gently by the hand and lead her over the object of her affections. Your direction is swift and simple, but more than enough to do the job. It doesn't take long before the two of them are chatting happily within the stringent rules of propriety. And now we get out. Cheap, shocking, outrageous. Cheap. Cheap. Cheap or possibly piss off Elizabeth. Yeah. It's just the same event every time, isn't it? but a vaguely familiar figure. You remember meeting him in the streets of Paris not long ago? Oh, the experiment guy. Bonjour, Yvette. What have you been up to? I've never been so busy in all my life. Well, that's certainly better than being bored. Life is meant for living, is it not? More specifically, my scientific studies have been waylaid by my romantic ones. Unfortunately, the woman I've set my heart upon is already being courted by a jealous and tiresome fellow. It's a situation that's put me at wit's end. In fact, I could very much use your assistance if you were willing. Lead me to your problem and I shall handle the rest. Fantastique. I need you to go forth and separate the two people over there, he continues, subtly indicating towards a young couple talking together in a different tent. Once the lovely madame is on her own, I shall have my own chance to make my affections known. I would accompany you myself, but I think my rival is a little too canny for that, he says, handing you a small, rolled-up piece of paper tied with a little bow. A message between potential lovers. Give her this if you can. With this in mind, you take your leave of him and begin the process of stealing yourself while you walk over to the couple he indicated. It seems that no matter how experienced you become, there's something disquieting about the process of approaching a group of strangers alone and introduced. With your nervousness calmed to a mere dull roar, you approach the would-be lovers in the middle of a conversation. The lady immediately makes room for you in the conversation. Oh, bonjour, madame. Please come join us. I was just retelling of how I've been learning to play the harpsichord. I'm hoping to be part of a recital by the end of the year. You step into the circle of a conversation and the man says, I was just telling her what pieces she should watch out for in her recital, as they might prove to be too difficult for a novice. Yes, you brought up many things that would make my success impossible, Demetrius says, with a barely concealed sigh. You can tell she wants to leave this conversation, but doesn't have a way out yet. Slip her the note. You discreetly pass the note that Michael gave you. You press the message into the woman's hand. She quickly stows the message in the pockets of her dress. The conversation doesn't even slow down for a moment. Of course, your sudden entry in the conversation generates suspicion on its own. You've spent a little credibility. It's not long before she excuses herself in the conversation to read the note. Where you watch her bump into Michael, who just happened to be walking in the same area. As the conversation begins together, you notice the young student shoot you a grateful wink before he and the object of his affections disappear into the crowd. Oblivious, the boorish gentleman appears to turn his attention to you. You manage to deflect his clumsy advances with relative ease. Still, you don't want to be rude, so you humor him for just as long as is necessary before you take your leave. Now you're alone, you realize an unfamiliar shape in the pockets of your dress. You check and realize that Michael seems to have slipped you a note at some point without you realizing it. On it you find some gossip related to the host of this party, presumably as payment for services here. Outrageous military gossip! All in all, this feels like it's a productive use of your time. Yeah. Cheap. 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 And cheap. All of it's cheap. Corporal D'Albern. But I'll talk to him. I mean, unlike most of our unit, I grew up in Paris. My father's a farrier, which is the only reason I even know how to ride a horse. I've been around the stubborn beast since I could walk. One even gave me my first scar, he says, pointing to the thin line at the top of his forehead. Of course, that's not always the case. A few months ago, we had somebody who joined who actually lied about knowing how to ride. Apparently, the fool thought he could earn better pay. Instead, all it got him was a broken shoulder when this horse bucked him off. I wondered whatever came of him. Really doesn't matter, I suppose. Other than the usual complaints and frivolities, our barracks are alight with the mutterings of people worried about how dangerous the revolution is becoming. It's funny that they're so loyal to the crown. It's funny they're all so loyal to the crown, considering the rumors I've heard lately. Begging your pardon, madame, I shouldn't be discussing this sort of thing. Oh, it's alright, you can tell me, Corporal. Well, you see, it's none of your concern, he says, eyeing you reproachfully. What? Curses. But I did get several pieces of outrageous military gossip. Sudden increase in soldiers taking second jobs throughout the city. Is this dereliction of duty or a sign that they need to be paid more? The king's ministers are begging him to supplement the army's presence around Paris with more foreign mercenaries. Is this meant to relieve exhausted troops, or is the nobility unsure of their loyalty? There's been a sudden increase. Oh, that's the same one as before. Now, perils up by 2. Curses. Widow time. Rendezvous! I will wear your outfit until it's in rags, madame. Credibility penalty. Favor with her. Coffee tasting with the revolution. And Revolutionary Party. Third one. Let's go. I'm going to be attending more parties with them. I really do need an outfit that's going to benefit. Go to the party. Cheap gossip. Here's some wine. Three levels of gossip. Cheap gossip. I'll try this one. Avengers have in the middle of a conversation with a woman deeply connected to the revolution and someone called Pauline Lyon. The conversation partner is fiery and tends to focus more on rhetoric than anything else, but it could be worse. She could be boring. It becomes clear that she considers nobody beyond reproach, which generally means she enjoys excoriating them for their various perceived failings. The outrageous rumors she's discussing at the moment are sure to be concerned with the goings-on of the revolution. Well, that's not true of all revolutionaries, interrupts a woman who has strode in the middle of your conversation. I'm not saying it is, I'm just referring to a specific person. If you let this go on, you'll never hear the rest of the rumor. Outrageous revolutionary gossip. The valuable information memorized. You continue the conversation, only find the interloper doesn't have much to contribute herself. Apparently, needlessly chiding others is her chief method of interacting with the world around her. Those look good. I have 3 rounds of conversation here. Outrageous crown gossip. Yeah, let's do this one. You stumble across something strange. Not only do you see Pierre at this party, it looks like he's actually invited. However, instead of the normal routine of stealing wine and stuffing hors d'oeuvres into his coat, he's engaging in serious conversation with a young revolutionary. Royal censors controlling newspapers like yours for years, dictating what they couldn't say. All I'm asking is that you turn their own tools against you. We can pay you to publish our own stories sympathetic to the people's cause. I must refuse, monsieur. Royal censors were the enemy of truth and the crown used them, and I won't bow to another such order again, no matter who holds the reins. I'm asking you to devote all your pages of stories we create, just a few. This isn't anything you've done, this isn't anything you've done before. Is that what they say of me now? He growls, clutching his snuff box in a tight fist. That I'm a liar? If I was a liar for the pay, I wouldn't be out here on the streets, enduring the slings and arrows just to find a story. If I was a liar, I'd be comfortable in my office, dreaming up new fabrications. I'd probably be wealthier too, sipping fine brandy every night instead of in the gutters. Well, I will content myself with. I'd clothe myself in finery instead of repairing the same rat-eaten rags. Perhaps the trappings of such would even make me seem respectable in all of your eyes, eh? And it pays me well enough. He can afford a decent coat. No man with his salt is without sin. I've stolen, I've skulked in the dark, I've swum deeper in the sea of mankind's vulgarity than the worst scoundrels imagine, but my paper has never lied. Listen here, you know that we can pay handsomely. You also know our cause is just. Is one newspaper editor's ability to easily sleep at night truly too great a price to pay for the good we can bring to the Oh, fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. Are you really so important that your reputation is worth more than their freedom? hate this top answer, but I think that's the one that's going to get me the gossip. Fine, I'll publish your fiction. Just give me the money and let's get on with it. The crown has lost in power. The revolution has gained power. Damn it. That is the opposite of what I wanted. Cheap gossip, peril, and the new guy that I don't want to deal with. Argument and debate. What a lovely party. Such gatherings of revolutionary minds. The only thing that really spoils the occasion is that you can never truly be too careful. After all, well, the king and queen don't have an official reason to arrest any of us. I'm sure they provide a handsome reward to anyone to find such a reason. Which, of course, why we all have to be so careful. Wouldn't you agree? Really, any new stranger could be a potential threat, she muses, looking up and down. I understand you're being vigilant, but is this really necessary? Sorry, I judged you unfairly. Yes, give me credibility. Cheap gossip. Printing profane things. An aristocrat challenged a revolutionary thinker to a duel of honor. Queen plans to grant a title to one of her closest female friends. Book salesman. Ugh. I'm gonna get my credibility up, jeez. This morning, the representatives from the Third Estate went to meet to their usual chambers, but were blocked by a combination of armed guards and construction workers, who claimed their chambers were being shut down for renovations. When the representatives attempted to enter the building to hold a meeting, the armed guards forced them away at gunpoint. Without a place to meet, the increasingly angry representatives found an empty tennis court. There they went and discussed the latest issues ahead of them, especially the Crown's latest attempt to thwart their ability to organize. They were not alone in the meeting, joined by several sympathetic members of the clergy, as well as a group of nobles who aimed to reach across the political aisle and break the deadlock that's been plaguing the Estates General. In a sudden moment of unity, all the members of the Third Estate vowed they wouldn't disband until they've established a written constitution for France. This is the first time the Third Estate openly opposed His Majesty the King. Revolution gained power, the bourgeoisie gained power, the bourgeoisie moved close to the revolution. The exact wording of this tennis court oath, borrowed heavily from the Declaration of Independence issued by the American colonists to the King of England. It's not surprising, as many of the most ardent constitutionalists were once army officers sent by His Majesty to help the Americans throw off the shackles of an unjust monarch. Now they just brought the fight home. However, rather than relieve the growing tension, this only seems to have heightened it. His Majesty the King is set to make a statement on the National Assembly, and this indirect effort to curtail them seems to have backfired quite significantly. And so in Paris, life goes on. Honorade, please. We just met 2 days ago. Alright, I'm gonna have to sell some gossip. Thank God you arrived. Give me things about the military. Alright. Increase or decrease the military by a large amount. Increase the military greatly. Increase the power of the crown. Yes. And sway the military towards the crown. That's getting a bit risky given all that information at once, but I'll see what I can do. Rent is due. And I will have to sleep today and then go visit Honorade. Explore Paris. Go home. Rest. Oh. Rendezvous. Same as before. Second amount of favor with her. Same as before. Darn it, give me another kiss scene with the widowed. Respond to Revolutionary Party. This is Bourgeoisie Party. Honorade. Head straight there. The credibility is topped off. Take this gift of wine. Got it. 4 actions. Cheap crown gossip. It's just cheap gossip. Peril up. Cheap gossip. Sure. Cheap bourgeoisie gossip. Cheap gossip. Cheap gossip. Honorade favor, peril, credibility. It also only brings it up though, it doesn't actually reduce it. This one might. A guest has apparently been entrusted with valuable knowledge only to make the mistake of getting extremely drunk afterwards. A single chambermaid has been told to watch over him, but you've never been one to let such a petty obstacle get in your way. Wow. Chambermaid. It is a grand day. I've been let in on such amazing things by our hosts. You'll all see. Their trust in my discretion was not misplaced. That sounds so important. Whatever could it be? He then proceeds to explain the entire secret that's been entrusted to him. Cheap gossip. I could just steal some money. One. You notice a room with a stately desk that appears to have been left open and unattended. Oh, I will gain peril if I do anything other than ignore it. You do not gain any credibility for doing this. Choosing to steal things is a base expectation in polite society. Terrible option. Cheap gossip. Honorade. But I'll try this. The room goes dark as somebody comes up behind you and places their hands over your eyes. Guess who? Honorade. A mere lucky guess. But you can hear the smile in her voice. You've gained favor with Madame Gazelle. She drops her hands from your eyes, you turn around to find yourself face to face with none other but the widow. I'm in a great mood. I'd like to celebrate with you. First, however, we need to find somewhere quiet. He grabs you by the hand and leads you away to a distant corner of the party. Your progress through the crowds is surprisingly slow. People keep stopping the two of you to pay their respects to Madame Gazelle and ask for her opinion on various matters particular to the bourgeoisie. You also can't help but notice how many guests' eyes linger on the way she's holding your hand. Nobody says a word, but they all do watch. Finally, the two of you find an empty room in the party, forgotten by other guests. A low fire burns in the fireplace, but nobody is there. She slowly shuts the door behind you and takes a seat in a big, overstuffed chair. Oh, this shit ain't fair. I can listen. I can play the game as a brat, or I can do far worse. I can just be boring. Wide grin blossom across her face. She entwines her fingers in the hair on the back of your head, slowly but firmly. I love instilling obedience in you. Yeah, she likes the brat. Two of you engage in little snippets of conversation, all of them meaningless. Instead, the both of you are focused on each other. Party going on in other rooms fades in the background as you slowly let go of yourself. Let yourself be made lesser than another. Let yourself... Okay. You can't even remember where the conversation stopped. The both of your wrists are in Madame Gazelle's hands, and her lips are drifting so close to yours. And then the door opens. You motherfuckers. She looks disgusted by what she sees, but also completely unsurprised, as if she was looking for something. What exactly are the two of you doing? Medium credibility challenge. Okay, she clearly liked the thing earlier. I'm going to overwrite the save. I want to see what it says here. I'm going to go silent, and even you are taken back by the audacity of the woman who just said that. Peril up. You've gained quite a bit of favor with Madame Gazelle. Taking time to lock the door this time, the two of you resume the same positions as before and spend more time together, whispering meaningless nothings and drawing ever closer. Time slips away from both of you. Worth it. Alright, 2 levels of exhaustion and a party the following day. I need to sell some gossip to do things. Alright. Thank God you arrived. Stories about the church. See what I can do. Increase the power of the military. Decrease the power of the revolution. And sell a bit of military gossip. Not great, but at least I have money. Alright. Oh, a crown party, finally. Explore Paris. Elizabeth, Phoebe, thing, journalism. Alright, I've been going for about an hour and a half. Before I do anything else in the game today, let me take a quick BRB, grab a snack, do some stretching. I was hearing a streamer, specifically Vividly Vivi, talk about streamers taking better care of ourselves while we're working and getting up, stretching, doing things like that. So I'm gonna actually take an example from her. So I'll be back in let's say 2-3 minutes, and we'll jump back into the game then. But anyway, I will see you folks in a sec.
In a few, technically.
Okay, I am back. Thanks for that little moment, chat. Let me switch back to the game. Okay. So we had 2 levels of exhaustion and... I already sold a bunch of gossip, so I really shouldn't sell more. Let's go to the cafe. Coffee. At least reduce it by 1 level. Becomes obvious the revolution is significantly more powerful than the crown. That is the reverse of what it was before. You're under an argument between supporters of the revolution and the crown. Back in the crown. You gained favor with members of the crown and lost favors with the revolution. That's fine. And I have a party with the revolution tonight. What could go wrong? Head of the party. Have some wine. Let the games begin. This fucking dude again. You know what? Fine. Let's meet you. Keeping a distance from the crowds, you examine the attendees of this so-called revolutionary salon. All in all, they seem like quite the eclectic bunch, a mix of stern scholars, opinionated lawyers, and outrageous bohemians. The mood is tense and energetic. However, you're simply content to watch events unfold from afar. Suddenly you notice a young man headed straight towards you through the crowds. Frankly, he's beautiful, but he radiates a dangerous intensity. Who are you, and what are you doing here? I'll answer once I know who I'm dealing with. Who are you, monsieur? Oh, really? Your caution is wise. One can never be too careful. He likes that. My name is Louis Anton Just. But please call me Antoine. I'd rather not share my name with tyrants. My apologies. With everything that's going on, there's always a concern the crown putting spies in our midst. However, I've heard of your escapades. I don't think I like what I've heard. Peril up. I can tell from your accent you're not around from Paris either. I'm only in the city for a few months from... Flerincourt? Someone invited me here and I'm using the opportunity to try and get one of my plays published. Of course, as much as I love my character and the people from the countryside, it's probably best that I'm here. My relationship with my family has been rather strained of late. They don't want me involved with revolutionaries. They don't understand the importance of our times. He'll like one better, and it's actually a very cautious answer, because I'm calling them fools. We must care or die. I care because I'm trying to help the crown overthrow the revolution. So yeah, you know, politics is not some civil debate where at the end everyone gets to simply agree to disagree. It's real decisions with real consequences for real people. The ability can pretend to sit above it all because they're isolated from the consequences. The rest of us cannot afford such a privilege. And now the people of France stand at the edge of a cliff, a raging forest fire burning at our backs. We stay and be incinerated or develop the courage to jump into the waters below. That is quite a line if you've been practicing it. Well, I did study oratory in school until I found my teachers wanting. You arrogant little shit. Two of you chat a while longer. While his main interests are political, you find he knows a surprising amount about poetry and theater, especially when it comes to legends and heroic epics. Everything seems that way with him. Larger-than-life heroes and perpetual clash against evil. Great people sacrificing themselves to the weak. Yeah, there was one of those already. His name was Thomas Alexander Dumas. He's dead now. It appears I am needed elsewhere, madame. Don't worry, I'll find you again. Well, that was utterly terrifying. Yeah, that dude's very extra, and I do not like him so far. Sure. Cheap revolution gossip. When you find that unbelievable, we should hear what happened with... Excuse me, but we don't need to worry ourselves with speculative rumors. It might be well and good for her, but you deal with speculative rumors all the time. Whatever provokes a reaction like that from her must be interesting indeed. We're all clever enough to be skeptical here, right?
Huh.
Credibility up. It's one of those things that's so odd that it feels fake, but it's just close enough to reality that you can't help but believe it. It's the kind of story that's dangerous, true or not. Scandalous revolutionary gossip. But he finishes relaying the story. Okay. A trio of 30 state delegates in Paris for the Estates General were detained by the Goutte Royale, with the Goutte harassing honorable men or forced to act against boors provocateurs. Honorade. Swear. Fine. Oh, that's been a couple days. That's fine. Oh, God. 3 in a row again. Fuck, shit. Journal. Well, the revolution isn't wildly stronger than the crown, if they're even. And both the church and the military like the crown. So, they've got God and gun. We've got the power of God, anime, and these guns we found on our side. The revolution just has the money. And not even a lot of money, because the nobility has that. So, rather than rest here, or here, I should probably sell gossip the one day, sell it again the next, maybe? And then I have to rest here. To weaken the revolution or make money. Best I can do. So anything more is going to end up in the papers.
Huh.
Mantis do, yes, I know.
Uh-huh.
And I have a military party tomorrow. Trying to sell his latest, most controversial literary masterpiece. Uh-huh. Let's save and then check out the dress shop. It's been a while since I got a dress, and I keep going to parties with the revolution, and I could use something they actually like to help me. That's 130, but I can sell something else. Like this one that I really shouldn't be using anymore. Okay. Honorade's gift still works. That's more useful for the military than my original. My original is so expensive and good. Alright, so what do I have here? I have military, church, crown, revolution, none? Military. Yeah, this one I'll sell. And no. I will wear that until it's threadbare. Party time! Potential peril, but outrageous crown gossip. Crown and military gossip. Outrageous crown gossip. Yeah, this one seems probably the best choice. It's about a judge who ran into you before. He's wearing his judiciary robes at a social event again. He seems oblivious of the fact that you've met before. It appears that he suffers from a sort of nearsightedness epidemic to men in positions of power. He can't focus on anything further away than himself. What manner of cases? Indeed. Oh, it doesn't matter what you say because he just wants to hear himself talk. One of His Majesty's own ministers stands accused of murder. He claims he was defending himself, but the very man he killed was one of the most outspoken critics. I need to say His Majesty is quite concerned with the results of the case. This minister, who is being held in the Grand Châtelet, or Grand Châtelet, was strolling alone at night, far from his home in the city. In fact, he was quite near the very home where his erstwhile rivals stayed for the Estates General. He claims that the critic attacked him without provocation and cites his right to self-defense. However, several witnesses claim that this bout of violence preceded by a furious argument between the two. It certainly muddies things, especially if one can infer the ministers went to that area with the intent of causing such an altercation. In that case, self-defense would not apply. In nearly every other similar case I've heard of, the nobleman's word would nearly be enough for him to be declared innocent. But you note that the judge's countenance is truly marred by indecision. You could alter his thinking, or you could simply abscond with some truly valuable gossip. So now I gotta do things that are going to potentially not benefit me with resources, but help me in other ways, I think. I'm gonna save scum this. You see, you just need something that will allow something as petty as the threat of retaliation to influence my rulings. You've gained quite a bit of peril. Judging by the mute anxiety that has overtaken his countenance, it has absolutely worked. Of course, swaying the ruler like this would have a certain direct impact on the political stage. Revolution lost power, the crown has gained power. Okay. That's fine. I'm happy with the outcome. Crown power up, other power down. I also have a lot more peril than I want. Military gossip, credibility, peril. This one at least might reduce my stuff. The speckled man and dragoon. Why is it that smaller people are always so quick to anger? They have the same amount of color as the rest of everyone else, but less room to store it. First, it's excuses and pay shortages. Now we're being dogged by yet another scandal. Even our weapons themselves are suspect. So I've heard, replies the gentleman. From what I know, soldiers in multiple battalions have found that they were sold crates of musket balls that were made from doctored lead. These brittle ammunitions barely fly through the air. Even if they do manage to find their mark, they harmlessly crumble to dust. It appears that the supplier to these musket balls is owned by a noble who's currently favored at court. Bringing investigations into this misdeed have merely fizzled out without answers. If any of us did this, we'd swing from the gallows, and rightly so. It seems that even treason in the name of profit is acceptable, so long as they have blue blood flowing through the veins. I hate both of these answers, actually. Because this is going to push the military away from the crown, and this is going to weaken the military. And what, we're safe scum in this. I want that, and then... Yeah, no. Not doing that one. Sheep. Sheep. Two men without uniforms are talking to each other next to a cannon. Da-da-da-da. If you take these secrets, members of either the Crown or the Revolution will surely know. Alright. Outrageous Revolution gossip. They've lost favor with Antoine. Gossip, that thing, and then also the scandal here that I don't want. I feel like I've done this event before. Last I checked, there's nothing wrong with being an ardent supporter of our troops. up. Military gossip. And I'm gonna have to sleep so hard today. I got 3 levels of exhaustion. And way more peril than I wish I had. Rendezvous! Same as before. Yeah, same as before. I wonder if I should just start turning her down so I have an extra day to do stuff. Revolutionary Party. I'll go to my new dress. Head right there.
Huh.
Have some wine. And gossip for dealing with Johanna. Gossip. Yes, gossip. Possibly reduce my peril or more basic gossip. That's fine.
Huh.
This is exactly the same conversation I had before. And a crown party. Cheap crown gossip. Take this wine. Let the games begin. Four turns tonight. Nice. I could reduce peril with this, and also get some shocking crown or revolutionary gossip. Let's go help Michael. Never thought I'd see a day when a noble woman took such interest in me.
Uh-huh.
A certain rumor has piqued my interest. I hear you've been traveling in the same circles as some prominent revolutionaries. Did they displease you, madame? Quite the opposite. One imagines if you were regularly in their presence, you would hear certain damaging things about their activities. Things that, if brought to light by the proper sources, would reveal the true danger of their cause. You would have me become a spy? No, spies skulk in the dark. You just repeat what you hear. To me. I can't do this. Whilst among them pretending to be their friend only to report their deepest secrets, my conscience would never allow such a thing. Credibility down. The crown party. Where the hell is Elizabeth? I'm actually curious how this works because it seems like it's a roll. No, it's the same result every time. What happens if I nope out of it then? You've lost peril. Okay, I'll take that. I'll trade credibility for peril. Or for less peril. Gossip. Alright, let's try this. I've come forward to request a favor. There's nothing too scandalous. I've recently arrived from Dantes. I'm needing introduction of a young woman over there. My son is of marrying age soon, so I'd like to make sure that certain familial inroads are open before such affairs are fully upon us. Yes, tell me things. Outrageous crown gossip. Shocking and outrageous stuff, cheap stuff. There's no Elizabeth here at this party? That's genuinely disappointing. Our favorite American. Lost credibility, gained peril. And no Elizabeth. Gained a bit of credibility. All this costs me is time. Okay. Cheap gossip. Potentially better gossip. Cheap gossip. Cheap gossip. No, I'm just here to help. Lost credibility.
Huh.
Outrageous crown gossip. Peril down by 8. Honorade. This is the 4th. Why do you want to... No, I'm sorry. I'm going to decline this one. I need time to do my own stuff, damn it. Yes, to the church. I have 3 levels of exhaustion. And I need to pay rent tomorrow. Stories about the military in 12 days. Got it. Credibility, crown gossip. Sell that, and now I can afford to pay rent. And that was probably way more than I should have done, but... I am almost certainly going to get in trouble for doing this, so I'm just going to dump everything. I'd like to not worry about money for a little bit. If you do this, there should be a 19th and 20th chance of the public finding out. That's fine. Alright, newspaper.
Ah.
Oh, no newspaper. Coffee run. Gossip. Elizabeth. Yeah. Pigeons. Yvette, what are you doing here? Wandering the city, hoping I'd run into you? What cheap romance did you pull that line from? You're lucky it's charming. I'm out here searching for interesting ideas on what to draw. I have plenty of willing subjects needing commissions to complete, but none of it thrills me. None inspires me. I can't remember the last time I was excited by my own work. What about a fountain?
Ah.
Nice. Her hand finds the oars, and you both sit there for a while as you watch the world go by. Return her affection. There with Elizabeth. Her wedding ring. She notices your changing expression. He doesn't know. I don't think he needs to know. Yeah, this is just about us, baby. That's good. It's an address. Write me a letter when you want to see me again. Rendezvous with Elizabeth are now available. Nice. Another date partner. Because I'm tired of sending... here we go. Wait to find a letter on your bedside table sealed in wax. Message from Armand. I write you now to explain the situation has become extremely grave. Our Habsburg society was founded with the intent of achieving great social change over the course of many years. These latest violent upheavals have shown us that our time is dwindling faster than we ever could have imagined. Simply put, our mission cannot be accomplished. I know Johanna wouldn't like it, but I need to push for something that's more achievable in our dwindling hours. I'll have to do this behind her back, but I accept the consequences for that. This may be her society, but its mission belongs to us all. To be honest, Johanna worries me right now. She's growing more distant and agitated by the day. I know our circumstances are taxing, but something just doesn't feel right about her. Stay safe. Stay safe as well. And respond to this. I guess I won the dice roll on the public finding out about that information I knew. Which is nice. Cheap gossip. Coffee. Arade. Alright, let's check this place out. Massive garden. Ooh. I bet Elizabeth would like going there. Interesting things to sketch. Alright, exploring Paris. Dance together. Antoine. Ooh, reduction in peril. That actually is kind of nice. Save quick. Da-da-da-da. I found this man cutting purses. I apprehended him and I shall deliver him to the prisons myself. What did you say? The fact that a soldier is performing an arrest makes the Good Royale look incompetent is likely a factor here as well. Credibility challenge. I suppose it could be possible if you were amenable to such an arrangement. Yeah, they're fine.
Oh-ho!
Favor with the military and lost peril. Thank you. De Luciano. Home. Sleep. Rid of my exhaustion. A revolution.
Revolutionary Party. Explore Paris. Rumor mongers. Luciano. Elizabeth or Luciano? Elizabeth. Carpenter's shop. Got Elizabeth standing with her sketchbook. She's studying the sculptures. Bonjour, Yvette. What are you doing here? I'm exploring the city.
Huh.
Just as she says that, Luciano steps out of the church. Ah. Buongiorno. Bonjour, father. Da-da-da-da-da. Ask Mai some questions on a matter of faith, and that quickly proved to not be the case.
Huh.
My paintings have been decried as vain, scandalous, and self-serving. I never saw such a thing in your work. Just gorgeous paintings of a person. As we're all taught, all of humanity is God's creation. Yeah, it's not bad. They get along. It's either that or all those nude statues we keep in the Vatican are really sending the wrong message. Elizabeth, would you mind if I joined you while you worked?
Oh,
Sorry, Luciano. I don't care about you. I'm dating the pretty painter lady. Alright, so this is a bourgeoisie event. It's been a while since I updated this information. The crown seems to be much stronger than the revolution, though, which is good. I could probably strengthen the church. That would be useful. The bourgeoisie is strongly aligned with the revolution, but they're not strong enough to make a difference. Huh. I wish I had the ability to send something out, because Honorata always contacts me. So. Alright. Firebrand again. Honorate Luciano. Coffee run. Let's just get some gossip here. Cheap military gossip.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Unwitting rube. A niche kingdom of the African continent. What was it like to deal with Marcelle? I always had my suspicions about her father, but I never really could get my hands on any proof. How did you know all of that? It's necessary for one of my profession to stay informed. Madame von Hirschberger, or should I say Madame von Gramont. If you help me out of this, I could work for you. I'm far too old and I'm far too beautiful to go to prison again. Case will cost money.
Ah.
Pretty good at this. With my help, you could be even better. And there have been failures. I'm in your debt and I'd like to offer my services as a spy mistress. Ooh. I can help avoid clandestine trouble as well as help you determine the next steps of those you wish to court you. Fuck yeah. 50 lira a week. Alright, you know what? As long as she's worth it. The day is open with staggering news. The king has just dismissed Monsieur Jacques Necker, who was both the Prime Minister and the Controller General of Finances. Monsieur Necker's reputation as a friend of the people was so great he was welcomed into office with a fireworks display. While it's understood he was always a controversial figure, his competence has never been in question. He argued for the abolition of serfdom and once broke a policy statement by leaking the national budget to the press in order to show the people how dire the country's situation really was. However, this public favor wasn't enough to save him. The king dismissed him from office, and the new Controller General of Finances is Monsieur Joseph-Francois Fouillon. Dismissing Necker, already guaranteed to be unpopular, replacing him with a conservative deeply loyal to the interests of nobility would have been bad enough, but Fouillon isn't just disliked, he's despised. During the last famine, when asked for the plight of the common people, he replied, "If those rascals have no bread, then let them eat hay." The common people have not forgotten this. Oh, I have an event with Elizabeth. Wait. The 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. Yeah, I'm gonna do some things for that widow. Alright. Oh. So this party has not been decided yet. And I can decline it for a little bit of loss of credibility. And that means I get a day off in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row of parties. I don't want a 6 for exhaustion. No. Church party, though.
Huh.
Deep church gossip. Here's some wine. Shocking crown gossip. Shocking other gossip. Church gossip. Church gossip for Alex's favor. Let's try this. With Andy Cremer, who used to be a colleague of Pierre.
Huh.
Well, I'd never do anything like join a nunnery. I found myself staying close to the church lately. God knows they're not perfect, but at least I'm content with them. In my experience, the military is full of blowhards, and I'll never have enough money to satisfy the bourgeoisie. And by being close to the church, it puts me close to the crown by proxy. Cast those stones, they're conducting themselves badly.
Uh-huh.
Shocking crown gossip. Basic conversation. Saw that one before. Oh, these are all super bland. Let's look at this one and see if I can reduce my peril. It's about a group of nationalists chatting together. The woman and the pair fearfully glances around the room before frantically whispering to the man who just rolls his eyes. Sensing some conflict, naturally you approach them. The price of bread had risen again this week, not just in Paris but all over France. The average family can barely afford to eat regardless of how hard they work. Such a rise happening in one region would make sense, but all over France at the same time, it feels coordinated. Yes, the infamous famine pact. People have already suspected such a scheme years ago, claiming a plot between Jacques Turgot and the previous king, but there was simply seemed no truth in the matter. Or their plan hadn't come to fruition until now. Turgot disbanded the guilds in the name of his so-called laissez-faire economics, and things have only gotten worse. The process of out of the hand of the guild, the price of bread continues to rise. It all makes sense. It's all part of their plan to keep the common people poor, desperate, and willing to slave away for scraps. Of course the price of bread has risen since then. Our population has grown, while our farming has stayed exactly the same place as it was 20 years ago. We have to focus on injustices that actually exist, not fairy tales that pretend we're unique and being set upon by life's most basic misfortune. As the woman skulks away, you pause to wonder what would happen if people really did believe such a thing. A cabal of wealthy industrialists, grain trafficking, and starving people to achieve some sinister political end? It would damage the bourgeoisie, but it would certainly galvanize people to the revolution's cause. This choice will solve the problem via your cunning spy master. Yes, spy master. Once the rumor set in, they were all like those stories of poisoned, moldy bread that was mostly performance. In all likelihood, someone is fending off the flames of discontent against Louis XV. He was simply so obsessed with his new economy, he never thought to try and prevent a famine. To him, the actual price of grain more important than the possibility that people growing up might starve to death. Of course, that's neither here nor there. What you're concerned with is how to use these resurgent rumors to your advantage. Right. Yours is always such a pretty idea. Beautiful enough to make a fine shroud should you fail, but be aware this, the revolutions are not comely things, and failed ones are even worse. It would benefit the revolution to openly court the bourgeoisie and crush these rumors. I know you're not happy about it, but the goal isn't what matters. Encourage the rumors. It'd be much easier to rally the common people if we had a clear and relevant threat to the point. Son of a man who's about to abandon all of his convictions for the sake of political expediency. It'll help the revolution, to be sure. However, the bourgeoisie will not appreciate being the target of conspiracy theories and fear-mongering. The revolution has gained a large amount of power. The bourgeoisie has lost power. The bourgeoisie has moved away from the revolution. Oh, and then she disappeared. She was there for a minute. Luciana, who I do not wish to talk to. Different gossip. Gossip. The chapel I donated funds for. Piety is best expressed with marble and gilt. You arrogant son of a bitch. My friend was just speaking. Outrageous church gossip. Nice. With your valuable information obtained, you sit back and allow this interrupter to flood both of you with a deluge of his irrelevant stories about how important he is to the local parish. Clearly he was never told humility was a virtue or that silence was golden. And cheap. Luciano. Cheap. Ooh. Sway the priest. Yes. Luciano, are you alright? I spent several nights meeting the First Estate's representatives for the Estates General. Parish priests from the country want changes to benefit people who are starving in the streets, but the bishops and deacons in the city are often noble families and don't want to upset the current order. They administer their churches like their own personal estates. We're supposed to be agents of the Lord, unified by our mission to protect the souls of our flock, but it seems like it's too much to hope for. I admit I have my own biases, but they're informed by Scripture. After all, the Lord himself said it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. I understand that much of the Bible's wisdom is difficult to interpret, but that part feels pretty straightforward to me. Still, I've been charged with looking out for the church's best interest in my reports back to Rome. I want them to see that the time has come to start picking sides, but I need to make sure it's someone that is already in a harmonious relationship with us. Of course, whoever the Catholic Church makes overtures to will gain a little power, even if that faction's own relationship with the Church doesn't actually change. Yes, Spymaster, avail us. But of course, the Church seems aligned with the Crown for the moment, at least. Your mildly threatening associate is right, I believe. The Church is aligned with the Crown, which makes me wonder what their attitudes towards the common people really are. It doesn't make sense for us to continue our support with the Crown. As we know, all kings rule at the behests of God. This will help the Crown. Okay. All right. Good morning, madame. Rent is due. 160 now. And I have a party with the revolution.
Huh.
Here, wine. So we have the firebrand. Yeah, I'm doing this one. Oh, I've seen this one before. Cheap revolution gossip. I don't want to help him with the revolution. So back to you. This is the exact same conversation. Credibility down, peril up. Boo. That's fine. Now, time for Honorade. Only 2 days ago, Prime Minister Necker was suddenly dismissed by the king. It was a decision that did not sit well with most. Today, the members of the National Assembly publicly called for the creation of a bourgeois militia? They want their own army. That wasn't disturbing enough. It's well known at this point that this militia would have no shortage of volunteers. While there aren't many fears of a large-scale desertion within the military, there are still thousands of angry commoners. It's quite easy to throw up a barricade in the streets and start trouble. Then again, a mob of angry people doesn't make an army. While Paris contains more than enough sickles, kitchen knives, and hammers, an uprising would need rifles and cannons to succeed. They're in short supply. The militia could overwhelm and rob the occasional group of watchmen, or even a small military checkpoint, but the only large concentration of weaponry you can think of in Paris is the Bastille. Opposing Castle used to be a major prison, but now it's an armory that happens to hold a few, especially odious criminals in spare cells. Of course, that would be insane! Who would storm the Bastille? Nobody would storm a castle in the middle of Paris. Such an act would plunge the city into the kind of chaos no one could ever turn back from. The situation's dire, but surely everyone will be more reasonable than that. Right? Right? I feel like we're getting near the end of chapter 2. This is Andrade. Gain favor. Today went well. She's happy. Let me sleep tomorrow. The Bastille was once the most infamous prison. Oh, god damn it. But it barely feels a prison anymore. Many still consider it a symbol of tyranny and repression. Today, a mob of over 1,000 commoners armed with pikes, kitchen implements, and stolen rifles attempted to storm the fortress. The Bastille contains hundreds of rifles, dozens of cannons, and ammunition for all of them. It's also extremely undermanned. The guards number barely more than 100. Camped on the other side of the River Seine are 5,000 troops in service of the crown, armed and ready for battle. Barely a mile away, if they decide to cross the river to relieve the defenders of the Bastille, nothing would be able to stop them. And that's exactly what they do. So, the Bastille never gets stormed in this timeline. At the commander's word, 5,000 troops form up and begin a swift march across the Pont Sully. They are grim and determined to restore order at any cost. It seems this enormous force crossing the bridge, many of the attacking militia scatter, and those who don't are quickly trapped in the square surrounding the fortress. This relief force strikes like a hammer, shattering the nascent citizen army against the looming walls of the Bastille. By the end of the day, bodies litter the streets, and revolutionaries have gained hundreds of martyrs to their cause. They have lost the first great battle, but it's too late for them to turn back now. The crown has gained a staggering amount of power. The revolution has lost power. Okay. Chapter 3. So the storming of the Bastille was the transition for chapter 3. The last 2 weeks have been complete chaos. No, I didn't get my date with Elizabeth. Roaring drone of chanted revolutionary slogans emerged with the orders to disperse, punctuated by screams and gunfire. In the past, you heard so much about glory, glorious uprisings from one group, and valor and loyalty unto death to the other. But hiding in your house the last few days, you've yet to see any of that. As you can imagine, this has put a rather serious damper on your social calendar. You can no longer receive random party invitations. While the violence stretches on into its own terrifying monotony, you can't help but feel that it's building towards something, like all this conflict has finally come to a head. As you consider leaving the house for the first time in weeks, you imagine the next few days would be a good time to get your affairs in order. To that point, you consider Pierre's humble newspaper and how his ability to peddle influence may have an effect on the outcome of things. Okay, so I did not get my date with Elizabeth. It was literally like 2 weeks were just gone, and there's no parties. Off and run. Luciano, Honorade. Alright, I know my stuff's like 2 or 3 weeks old. Bourgeoisie rumors. Fine. I actually don't have any of that. Yeah, all of this is old because the game... all old as shit. Damn it. One in 20. One in 10 of the Public Finding Act. This is all absolutely worthless. Explore Paris. I really could use some money. Lose money. Lose money. Visit location. Alright, that is bourgeoisie, military. I cannot sell that one. Church, crown, revolution, military. Darn. Well, that's just disappointing. Fine. Alright. You wake up and stretch, feeling a twinge in your back. Judging by the noise outside, Paris has yet to become any more peaceful during your night's rest. You notice the faint smell of perfume. Definitely sent by Madame Gazelle. Chérie Yvette, as of late, I've been feeling even better than I did at the beginning of our last fateful encounter. My guards are doing especially well, and I'd love for you to see them. If there will be no chance of us getting interrupted, I await your arrival. Ah. Bending yourself with a letter to drive away some of the summer heat, you can't help but notice the smell of her perfume on the letter again. You idly realize you could go there tonight if you were willing to brave the streets of Paris. Right, first and foremost, I'm going to rest. I just did this, but I'm doing it again. I'm gonna go have coffee first to get my ducks in a row.
Huh. Mm-hmm.
General tab updated. The crown is significantly more powerful than Revolution. Drawn into a conversation about the church and the bourgeoisie. Back to the church. Reading the newspaper feels like an exercise in masochism. Yeah, I know what that feels like. His archers have been conducting more raids as of late. They're trying to suppress any local political organizations. Too little, too late, but they're trying to maintain some image of authority. Your eyes suddenly stop at a name buried in the middle of the article. Among the list of clubs and societies that have been singled out, one of them is the mysterious and enigmatic Frankish Habsburgian Society. There's no mention of Armand or Johanna. Okay. So they didn't find either of them. Time to go talk to the widow. Hastily walking to Madame Gazelle's home with your hood up, you realize you've never actually been there before. Thankfully, you've already memorized her address from all the letters she sent you. Of course, even if you didn't know her address already, you'd certainly be able to recognize the place. An elaborate, fashionable Rococo building sits back from the street and behind a gate. The windows are shrouded by gauzy black curtains. It's like somebody modeled the building on her. You go to knock on the gate, it opens before you can touch it. Looking around, expecting a sort of specter, you notice Mademoiselle's servant René. Especially to notice he's no longer wearing his black armband. With a thin smile, he waves you in and leads you beyond the gate into the house. No tour is provided, but you stroll through the dining room and the salon towards the garden in the back. You're offered a glass of wine, an impressively dusty bottle, which you take. It's simply nice to be prepared. You arrive in the gardens, which are filled with a combination of blooming roses and lilies. The scent is almost overwhelming. René indicates Madame Gazelle, who is waiting in a chaise lounge at the center of the garden. A table is set up next to her, draped in a black sheet. She hasn't noticed you. He bows and begins to dismiss himself. Help me get something special first. He widens as you produce the black satin outfit she gave you long ago. Step back inside, and while his help isn't as quick as Camille's or as sensual as Madame Gazelle's, you find yourself dressed and looking as amazing as ever. Back in the garden, she's waiting on her chaise lounge, reading by a lantern amongst the flowers, a single spot of sumptuous dark and a halo of light. They step out of darkness, suddenly appearing before her, dressed in the vision of what she imagined for you. For once, in all the time you've known her, you've truly caught her off guard. Her eyes drink you in deeply and hungrily as she stalks towards you. You, my darling Yvette, are a vision. That you would even think to... She trails off, holding the edge of your midnight-colored skirt between her thumb and forefinger. I'm gonna check a thing quick, because I have a feeling here. Well, the good thing is, at a cautionary glance, there doesn't seem to be anything coming up in searches for anything that'll get me into trouble on Twitch. If there is, I will tab out quickly. Marvelous. You've gained quite a bit of favor with Madame Gazelle. Your timing is impeccable as always. I have a very important meeting tomorrow, which will consume a lot of my time in the near future. But let's focus on tonight, she purrs. After all, I finally have you all to myself. I have to ask, what brought you here? Why come at all? The last one's a terrible answer. The middle one she'd like. I'm not sure if she'd like the bottom one. Or the top one, I mean. Reaching past you, she plucks a lily and places it in your hair.
Ah.
And a little favor. As your eyes open, you see Madame Gazelle is pulling a black sheet from the tables, revealing a series of items. Your eyes focus on lengths of sturdy black ribbon and riding crop. Glancing around, you realize no windows of any of the neighboring buildings face this garden. Chat. Chat, I might have chosen poorly for a streaming game here. Alright. We're gonna do a thing here. I'm gonna tell you right now, chat, I'm choosing the middle option. I trust you, but it's new to me, and I'd like to take things slowly. I'm going to turn off the game to make sure it doesn't bite me in the ass.
Uh-huh.
She replies, that is very understandable. I will never ask you to do anything you don't want to. You've gained favor with Madame Gazelle. Okay, this isn't bad. She's getting a little handsy. I may, however, she says, tightening a length of ribbon between her hands, leave you wanting more. I think I saw something in Steam where it was showing, what was it? I think it was a scene between you and Armand. Again, I am extremely nervous for whatever this game has in terms of its content. It's not... Does it have like a rating? Oh, Metacritic gave it a 75. Nice. Hub. If there's anything scandalous, it will be in here. I'm not seeing anything here that's indicating that this should cross a line on Twitch, which I'm happy for. I'd be lying if I said this current development wasn't worrying me a little bit. We shall see, chat. Alright. It's a confusing night, but it feels good. Ba 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 ba. Two of you are so caught up in your play together you don't leave the garden. Hours later, you're exhausted, sore, and consumed by heady bliss. Okay, yeah, you 100% fuck the S&M widow. I am going to... You wake up in the middle of the night, Madame Gazelle is asleep next to you, snoring slightly. Stay with her. Her servant brings us breakfast. My darling Yvette. Oh, she brought us a letter, so I think it's fine now. My darling Yvette, I'm sorry I'm gone, but I had to leave for an important meeting. Sometimes business truly does come before pleasure. I wanted to say that last night was amazing. I look forward to playing with you again. To be honest, I never thought I'd be able to trust someone again the way I trust you now. Love, Madame Gazelle. You gained a lot of favor with Madame Gazelle. It's everything I wanted and more. That's fine. Mistress of Command, complete the storyline of Madame Gazelle, the wealthy widow. Paris continues and fits and starts to burn. You spend your copious free time poring over little snippets of news you've managed to pick over the last few days. At this moment, it looks like the crown will be able to weather the storm. The revolution's fire burns, but not bright enough. This is good for you, of course. For all your time in Paris, your close association with Elizabeth, the public believes you to be loyal to the crown. Instead, whatever happens next, you can be assured that the ship of state shall come to port in a sea reddened by torrents of blood. And so, Paris continues to burn. Fantastic. Luciano, Honorado, Luciano. Visit location for some gossip. Cheap military gossip. It's the best I can get right now. I'll get it, madame. Madame, you won't believe it. Monsieur Armand is here. What the devil is he doing here? Doesn't he know it's dangerous? Sacre bleu, send him up right away. Her fiancé greets you with a gentle kiss on the cheek. It is so good to be back here, even if it's but for a moment. Camille, if you excuse us, please. Oh, oui, monsieur. Have fun sleeping with your fiancé as she is getting out of bed in her night clothes. As you can imagine, I'm not just here for a social call. I know it's dangerous for me to come here, especially given all that's happened recently. What I want to say next simply had to be discussed in person. Our society hoped to advance our cause, slowly building consensus within the States General. However, the time for that is long past. We can't build consensus when people are killing each other in the streets. After Johanna's disappearance and the raids on our society, our difficulties have only grown. In fact, I think the only reason I was able to escape the raids myself was because I was out warning everyone after the discovery we made when you came for dinner. If you hadn't visited. What's important is that it's still possible for us to accomplish something useful amongst this uncertainty, but it won't be easy. To simply put, we'll have to play both the crown and the revolution at the same time. Something like that requires a mutual enemy. You're as shrewd as ever. We may not be able to bring about our original plan, but we can get both the revolutionaries and the crown to draft a close military and trade alliance with Austria, as well as guaranteeing the safety of the queen and her children. We may be able to secure open borders between our two nations. This could help a lot of people. How are they going to agree about the same thing at a time when they're killing each other, Armand?
Huh.
That's the funny thing about politics. Despite every rattled saber, every declaration of allegiance and purity, there's always secret messages and discussions going on between enemies. Most leaders would rather negotiate, even if the terms aren't always agreeable. Sadly, to negotiating table, let's find a compromise, doesn't rally one's base like two arms that seize what is ours by right. So those leaders simply negotiate in secret. Even in times of love and war, the conversation never stops. The stakes merely grow more dire. This, of course, is where our plan becomes underhanded. What we need is for someone that we know well, who is already under suspicion by society. By framing them as a threat that we discovered, we can bring both the crown and the revolution to the negotiating table long enough to get our demands. Right now, our best choice for this deception is Elizabeth Lebrun. She's already earned the ire of the public, and she was once close to the queen. We can say this all comes from a desire for revenge after being cast out. Framing her as someone conspiring against the nation will help us save many... No! Armand, are you seriously asking me to frame an innocent woman? I will not do this. Honestly, I'd hoped you'd see the value of our ends here, but no matter. Good. I'm not helping you kill the nice painter lady with a daughter. You selfish prick. I'm sorry, my darling, but I must take my leave then. There's still much I need to do before this day is through. I merely hope I can still manage to do some good while we still have the chance. Good, there's no way I was going through with that madness. Was this the man you agreed to marry? Has he changed, or was he always this way? Regardless of the answer, no matter how much this may trouble you, this doesn't mean the world has slowed down at all. There's always more to do. I should tell her about this and fucking save her. Gossip, and then... Yeah, I think I missed my chance at Elizabeth. Settle gossip. Peril down. Fantastic. Sell military gossip. And the rest of it is completely useless. But if I get asked for rent money, I can afford to pay them now. Violence has only gotten worse, which is often the case in times like these. Times line these. Silly spelling errors. Judging from the frantic murmurings you hear on the street, it's been confirmed the crown is significantly more powerful than the nascent revolution. Of course, rarely does one group hold power alone, and minor factions of France appear to finally be picking their sides. As expected, the church is supporting the crown, whatever good that might do. The church is greatly diminished versus years past, but all the same, priests regularly issue sermons, exhorting their flock to stand fast in support of their rightful king. The crown gained power. As one would surmise, the bourgeoisie has fallen in line behind the revolution, but in a weak and disorderly fashion. A small council of merchants, scholars, and doctors have spoken out against His Majesty and have refused to pay taxes until the revolution's demands are met. The revolution has gained a little power. The top corps, the officer corps of the military, composed mainly of nobles, has managed to keep control of their units and place themselves at the service of the crown. Filled with fresh vigor, their actions have already been swift and aggressive. Cannons are rolling down the streets of Paris, ready to smash revolutionary barricades asunder. The crown has gained a decent amount of power, and so Paris continues to burn. I think we might be able to hit the ending for this tonight. While your own progress has ground to a halt, it feels like the advancement of time around you has only sped up. Last year in October, a large crowd of women marched upon Versailles to demand bread, mostly armed with homemade pikes. However, this crowd was disjointed and sporadic, with many deserting upon seeing armed guards at the palace. When the demands went unanswered, the mob attempted to storm the palace to present their demands to the royal family. Terrible idea. In response, the guards opened fire, dispersing the crowd with force. Revolutionaries have come to refer to this tragic event as the Women's Massacre. This sudden violence began a string of defeats that the revolution is still reeling from to this day. The crown has the stability and the necessary alliances to suppress any threats to their power as soon as they arise, preventing them from gaining momentum. Paranoia and desertion have withered revolutionary ranks, and as the crown recently released an edict of mercy, promising legal clemency to any revolutionary that throws down their arms. This edict excludes all that have been branded as revolutionary leaders, and so Paris continues to burn. So Armand will not get out of this. Last night, a sleepy commune named Varennes made history. Last 2 years have been a collection of sporadic uprisings and unsuccessful battles as revolutionary forces spring across the country, led by men like Robespierre, Lafayette, and Talleyrand. Their many narrow escapes from royalist forces have become the stuff of folk legends, and several fictionary accounts have begun published in the form of illegally distributed novels. However, one's luck only lasts so long, and revolutionary leaders are finally cornered, found hiding in the attic of a post office. With their leaders apprehended and brought back to Paris in chains, the remaining revolutionary forces scattered across Paris have been demoralized and leaderless. And so Paris continues to burn. Wow, they actually caught Robespierre. That's impressive. That makes a difference. Less than a year after the events in Vernet, a physician named Joseph Ingos Guillotine proposed a device. A device that will decapitate the condemned quickly and cleanly. No longer will they twist and choke at the end of a hangman's rope. No longer will a missed strike from the executioner's blade leave a screaming man begging for a second swing. This guillotine kills instantly, for if one is to die, it should be done humanely. In fact, this device has already claimed its first life. A highwayman named Nicholas Jacques Pelletier, who was found guilty of murder, robbery, and rape. By all accounts, he was a wicked man. In fact, the crowd that watched his death was unsatisfied with his execution. It was too quick, too clean, too clinical. Perhaps they shall have to witness this guillotine work a few more times before they warm to it. So Paris continues to burn. Ooh, the national razor's out. It has been a year and a half, and the people of France have truly warmed to this guillotine. The courts have been in a situation of complete deadlock as the captured revolutionary leaders continue to argue their cases before the courts. Finally, His Majesty King Louis XVI broke the deadlock by simply ordering their executions by royal decree. All this went against France's legal norms. Tribulations and paralyzing violence of the last few years have dullied such sensitivities. For all the talk of their importance, rules and standards crumble easily before any firm wielder of power. This morning, one after another, the revolutionary leaders were executed, their heads stacked in rows upon the ground. Jeering crowds stamped upon revolutionary clockades and shouted, "Vive le roi!" with every death. The king had once been accused of possessing a vacillating nature. He had not firmly kept his hand upon the reins of power, but after seeing so many threats to his rule, something has changed within him. No such indecision haunts him now, and so Paris continues to burn. Yeah, we're jumping by a lot. Oh, that was 1973. Your morning preparations are interrupted by the sound of loud crashes and discontent outside. Normally this wouldn't be strange, but this time the sounds are close, uncomfortably close. Ever since the crown successfully put down the rebellion that threatened to usurp His Majesty the King, you've heard of disloyal subjects being put on trial. Is that what this is? Look out the window and see dragoons forcibly tearing people from their homes and gathering them in the middle of the street. Your blood runs cold at the sound of heavy fists banging on your front door. "I'll get it," Camille cries out from downstairs. Before you can stop her, you hear her opening the front door downstairs. This is immediately muffled by the sounds of a struggle. You stir at the sound of trampling boots. Someone is coming up the stairs. A familiar dragoon bursts in, holding an official notice in his hands. "Madame Yvette Ducot, you stand accused of high crimes against His Majesty the King." "I understand. I shall come with..." You gasp as he grabs you roughly by the wrist in the middle of your sentence and immediately starts dragging you outside. You attempt to placate him, but it falls upon deaf ears. Just before he drags you out of your bedroom, you manage to grab your traveling bag. It contains your journal and a pencil along with Johanna's mysterious letter and the signet ring you found under the floorboards in the kitchen. Not long after, you found yourself alone in a jail cell, trying to contemplate which indignity is greater, the fact that you're only dressed in your foundation garments or the fact that you still haven't had any breakfast yet. Taking a seat in your new bed, you wonder what this trial will be like. How does one even prove their loyalties to the crown? You know one thing, though. Whatever awaits you in that trial, you must succeed. Your very life hangs in the balance. All right, we're at the end game. Next morning, you find yourself dragged into a crowded courtroom. It takes a second to realize that it's the most people you've seen in weeks. Looking around, you survey the crowd, feeling rare flashes of familiarity at some of the faces. It's likely you've seen them at various splendid parties over the years. Has it really been that long? Your life in Paris feels like it's just flown by. It feels like eons from your life in the country. A judge at the front of the courthouse clears his voice, jostling you from your reverie. Ah, yes, you're supposed to be dissuading them from making your head shorter. Making you a head shorter, that's why you're here. Pay attention, everyone. Return to your seats. I shall have an order in my courtroom. In the case we have before us, it's quite out of the ordinary. Still, I shall not allow this folly to sully the decency of these proceedings. Madame Yvette de Foix, you stand accused of leading a conspiracy against His Majesty King Louis XVI. This is a high crime indeed. Leading a conspiracy against the king. You've done a lot of questionably legal things, but this isn't one of them. What's going on here? Should you be found guilty, the judge continues sternly, you shall be sentenced to death. How do you plead? Monsieur, this is the first time I've heard of these charges. First of all, madame, you shall address me as your honor. Second, ignorance of law is no excuse. The charges against you still stand. You gained a little peril. The Crown's prosecutor shall now make his opening statements. Did I save it all? That's my last save. With the widow. Okay, great. Let's make a new save right now. I am Antoine Fauquier Tinville. It's my duty to bring the enemies within our midst to justice. This woman stands before us charged with scheming with foreign agents and his leading group of revolutionary fanatics. Instead of living at peace with the bosom of our nation, she instead plotted against His Majesty the King and against the Frankish people themselves. You've gained some peril. Is it true you were engaged to Baron Armand de Barbeau? I was, but I haven't seen him in months. Really? Do you have evidence that shows Madame de Foix was in contact with her fiancé for the last few months? I do not. Then I must ask you to redirect your line of questioning. I've lost peril. Good. Moving on, it's known to us your fiancé's actions were done in the service of a traitorous group called the Frankish Habsburgian Society. You attempted to keep your face blank, but your mind races. How exactly does he know all this? This group aimed to suborn our kingdom to the monarchy of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Their cause is treasonous by definition and would have made slaves of us all. Did you ever do anything to aid or abet this cabal of fanatics? But I did. I did the party. Really? I see. This proclaimed lack of association, however, is not enough to prove your innocence, but you've lost a little peril. Okay, I lied. There's, of course, the question of your puzzling finances. It's known to the court you lived alone, separate from your fiancé for some time. At least it appears that way. You possess no great wealth. You have no husband to support you, yet you were able to maintain your own estate, complete with servants. That sort of is really fair to call your tumbled-down home an estate, but that doesn't seem to be stopping him. It is known you made yourself intimate with the highest tiers of society. There you moved amongst them, bedecked in finery far above what your station should allow. Such things are not cheap. Given your alleged leadership of a dangerous cabal of fanatics funded by foreign agents, it would not be hard to imagine that foreign powers supported you financially. To my point, did you receive money from a foreign power? Oh, I got a job. The newspaper? You worked for... This is, of course, difficult to prove. Part of the reason you could maneuver so effectively through Paris' high society was because your work was conducted off the books. However, you don't need to convince this fool of that. You need to convince the jury. To that end, they seem to be nodding along quite thoughtfully. You generally seem disavowed of suspicion on this particular count. You have lost peril. Oh, that's so good. Slowly, the whispered conversations in various corners of the courtroom spiral out of control. Soon you can barely hear yourself think above the din. Just as the crowds build to an unbearable volume, the judge raises his hand and shushes people, slowly bringing the room to order. They said slowly twice. Slowly, the prosecutor, Fauquier, stalks back to his seat. Settle down, everyone. We shall take this time to call for a recess. Prepare to rejoin within a half an hour. The courtroom empties out as people take their time to stretch their legs. However, you decide to remain in place as you don't actually have anywhere to go. Just as you begin to settle in, a cheery voice rings out behind you. Madame, you're alive. Camille bounds in, carrying a small basket with her. I heard you were being tried at the courthouse, so I came as quickly as I could. You were there when we were dragged out of the house, Camille.
Uh-huh.
From what I heard outside, it sounds like things are going very well for you. The prosecutor was absolutely furious. I thought you might be hungry, so I brought lunch, tea, and wine. Would you like any? At this point, you remember you haven't eaten since you were apprehended. Lunch and tea, please. Yes. Tea is strong, hot, and you immediately feel more invigorated. It'll be easier for you to be your charming and engaging self. You have gained credibility. And when you bite into lunch that Camille prepares for you, your hunger returns full force. You devour the meal almost instantly. This unwelcome repast, however, is interrupted by a figure looming over you. So we meet again, you bitch. It's really a shame that someone managed to connect you to this Frankish Habsburgian society. That bloodthirsty prosecutor has even gotten in his head that you're the leader. What a tragedy. Imagine you being wrongfully executed as the leader of a society you were never even a member of. Well, at least now the authorities will stop searching for us entirely, so it'll be much easier for the Frankish Habsburgian society to rebuild and continue its work. You bitch. In fact, I imagine Armand will be extremely distraught by your passing and might even need a shoulder to cry on. At first, he'll be upset about my testimony, but that'll pass. In time, he'll understand that this was just a necessary evil. After all, I can be very convincing. You know what? Considering he was willing to throw Elizabeth the Painter under the bus for his society, I think he'd do that to us. He's an asshole, and so are you. I'm going to throw you both out. So why don't you be a good little sacrifice and just die for us? Laugh while you can, Madame Dujardin, or should I say, Madame von Holben. How do you know that name? She hisses at you through gritted teeth. She stops to breathe slowly and recompose herself. No, you have nothing. Absolutely nothing. This is over. I will bury you. Soon you'll be forgotten. I'll be free to do as I please once more. Well, it looks like this recess is about to finish up. I'll let you enjoy your last meal. Ta-ta, Yvette. With that, she leaves. I really don't like that woman, Camille mumbles to herself as she glares daggers at Johanna's back. Before you can reply, a guard ushers Camille to a seat at the back of the courtroom, and everyone else starts to take their seats. Your final challenge is about to begin. The judge stands before the court as the recess comes to a close. Order in the court. The trial is now back in session. The judge takes a seat, and from across the courtroom you can see Prosecutor Fouquier already striding the center of the room, a vicious gleam in his eye. To begin the prosecution would like to call to the stand Viscountess Marcelle de Foix. Both Marcelle and her dog eye you hatefully as they shuffle to the center of the room. The whole court is shrouded in whispers as the assembly try to determine what business a disgraced fraud could possibly have here. What is she playing at? What's her game? She wants revenge. Viscountess de Foix, do you swear to tell the whole truth without hatred and without fear? Of course, good monsieur. As the prosecutor prepares the questions, you can't help but notice Marcelle hasn't stopped staring at you since she walked in. Please describe in your own words the event that took place in February of 1789. I was hosting a dinner party in attendance with one Baron Armand de Marbeau. After dessert, he inquired to see if he could speak to me alone. Did you find anything unusual at the request? No, back then, young men were routinely trying to court me so they could access my fortune. She sighs, then glares at you accusingly. Once we were alone, he started talking about mutual interest, ensuring that France was guided by a wise and steady hand. While I agreed at first, he then launched in this tirade about Austro-Hungarian Empire and how much the French people stood to benefit. It didn't take long for me to realize he was seriously proposing we merge our country with another, that we give up our traditions and even the political autonomy of France. Obviously, a lady of my baron could never have been swayed by such tawdry notions, so I demanded to know who put him up to this ridiculous plot. Armand never said who, but that he was a representative of this Frankish Habsburgian society. He went on to mention this group was run by an intelligent woman of humble origins. Regardless, I cast him out and demanded he never speak to me again. Well, the last part isn't completely true. She certainly seems to believe the rest. Do you have reason to believe you know who the mastermind behind this so-called society would be?
Huh.
I do. Yvette Decaux visited my estate a week later, inquiring after her Armand. So certainly a woman of unusual cunning with her background and of obviously low origin. It only makes sense that she's the ringleader. Never in your life have you been so insulted by a compliment. Merci. The prosecution rests. Citizen Ducot, you shall be given the right to ask a single question of the witness. Single question. Do you have any actual evidence that I'm the ringleader, or is this guilt by association? Yes, about that. No, I don't. However, I think we can agree that the word of a lady of standing such as myself would simply be enough. The jury mumbles doubtfully about this particular sentiment. Madame de Foix, if you have proof that's more substantial than hearsay and supposition, I demand you provide it immediately. Well, I don't have any. Are you happy? No, I am not. You have lost peril. Madame de Foix, you are dismissed. Oh, Madame. We shall discuss your conduct here at a later date. The prosecutor returns to the center of the courtroom, a confident swagger in his step. The prosecution would like to call Johanna Dujardin to the witness stand. She approaches the center of the room and affixes you with a steady stare. Do you swear to tell the whole truth without hatred or fear? Nothing would give me greater pleasure. That's a sus line if ever I've heard one. Jesus. Sensing the venom dripping from the woman's words, the judge takes his seat. Just looking at this woman causes pain to grow in your chest like a snake coiling around your heart. What is she plotting? In your own words, could you please tell the court what you observed in the summer of 1789? At the time, I was living on the western side of the city with Armand de Marbeau. During my time living with him, I observed many suspicious instances. He frequently held meetings with various unscrupulous persons, meetings that, I learned later, were traitors to the interests of France. You seem familiar with what these people were discussing. Did you yourself take part in any of these traitors' meetings? Absolutely not. However, I did read a few letters that Armand left scattered around our residence together. He was always so careless, you see. Reading his correspondence, I found he was so frequently in contact with his fiancée Yvette, who was living elsewhere in the city. From what I observed, I believe that she was the mastermind behind this Frankish Habsburgian society, that she had deceived him into acting against his best interests, and... Yes, the court agreed to look upon Baron de Marbeau mercifully in exchange for your assistance in finding the leader of this organization. Now, in regards to your claim that the defendant is said mastermind, do you have any evidence? In fact, I do. Earlier on, I entrusted it to you as evidence of her crimes. It is the letter she sent to her Armand detailing her involvement in this cabal of fanatics. I must confess I stole this letter from Armand, but I hope the court will be lenient with me in light of my contribution to the public good. Worry not, Madame Dujardin. I'm sure the court can be convinced to see the upright intent behind your transgression. To quote the letter discovered by Madame Dujardin, Armand, the success of the Frankish Habsburgian society hinges upon your actions. You must put aside your reservations for the good of our cause. I've worked too hard since founding this great order to let contemptible monarchs of this land stand in the way of my ambitions. At the end is signed, your partner in conspiracy, Yvette. I think we have no choice to believe that this missive is incredibly falsified, you idiots. The jury mutters darkly amongst themselves. You cannot stop the horror you feel from reaching your face. I know, Yvette, your treasonous words are truly shocking. I hardly believed them myself when I read them. Please look upon your crimes for yourself, if you can bear witness to them. The prosecutor sneers and shoves the letter in your face. You frantically scan the unfamiliar letter and feel your stomach plummet. It even looks like your handwriting. It's not a perfect forgery, but it's close. You look at Johanna's face as the smile of triumph that a predator gives its prey before the end. Look inside your bag with a smile of your own. Johanna may fool herself into thinking that she could possibly outwit you, but you already have everything you need to strip her of any such illusions. The prosecution rests, Your Honor. The prosecutor takes his seat and takes a moment to compose himself. You take a moment to compose yourself. You're almost giddy with anticipation. As before, the court shall grant you the privilege of a question for the witness. I'm sure you have many questions, Yvette, but you should make this one count. Your Honor, before I question her, I'd like to submit 3 pieces of evidence. The courtroom gasps at this unexpected declaration. What could you possibly have? Oh, they'll learn soon enough. I'm sorry, you would like to what? You'd like to what? You, stop this foolishness immediately. My title is Your Honor, Madame. I shall also remind you that I do not answer to your whims. My duty is to find traitors to the crown and have them removed from our midst. Madame Ducot, what do you have for us? This better be good.
Carefully, you lay out the 3 pieces of evidence you spent months gathering together for just such an occasion. First is the letter you found underneath the kitchen floorboards, detailing the existence of a mysterious Johanna who is leading the Frankish Habsburgian society. With that, you introduce the letter Armand gave you, the one signed by Johanna von Holben. The handwriting matches the first letter, but is unfortunately written in German.
Oh-ho.
You are extremely fortunate, Citizen Ducot. As a man of learning, I am perfectly able to read German. Please give the letter here. The judge reads in silence for a few minutes before intoning, let it be known to the court that this letter indicates that the woman known as Johanna du Jardin is actually an Austrian woman by the name of Johanna von Holben. This letter details little else of relevance. Finally, you present the signet ring of the von Holben family. Its sigil was used to seal both letters. Originally intended to allow Armand to escape across the border to safety, it has now become the final nail in her coffin. All of this evidence would suggest that this Madame von Holbein is the real leader of the Frankish Habsburgian society. It would also mean that she attempted to frame you as the real leader of this organization, the judge says to you, the reality of the situation slowly dawning on him. Sacre bleu! Guards, arrest that woman! The judge screams in shock, pointing at Johanna. What? No! She snaps as she's roughly seized at either shoulder by a pair of guards. Yeah, she's so screwed. Do you think this is over? Do you insignificant fleas have any idea what I've sacrificed to get this far? Do you have any idea who? All you cretins had to do was admit for a single moment that you weren't the smartest people in the room, to admit that none of you had any idea what you're doing. But you couldn't even do that. This is the end. My ambition will not be contained, not by you, not by nations, not even by God. Well, you're gonna die. You are most fortunate then, Madame von Holbein. Your ambition will be ended neither by men, nations, nor the divine. It shall be ended by the guillotine. Guards, take her away. We'll arrange a proper trial for her crimes later. No, well, we have fucking evidence she just gave false testimony in court. Take her out now. The judge, Johanna, glares at you, her eyes dripping with hatred. Don't even look at her. Don't you ignore me! Don't you dare ignore me! She screams as the guards drag her, kicking and screaming out of the courtroom. As for you, Yvette Decaux, I have no choice but to declare a mistrial and to find you innocent of all charges. A mistrial? Your Honor, surely you can't be serious. You will be silent unless you'd like to join Madame von Holben in a cell. I am absolutely through with being contradicted in my own court today. Prosecutor slinks away at this reprimand, but not before he gives you a haughty sneer. You decide to favor him with your broadest, sweetest smile. The trial is over. Yvette Decaux, you are free to go. You have lost all peril. With a gesture to the guards, he finishes up the proceedings, and the crowds begin to file out of the courtroom. You follow them outside, eager to leave this place behind. Madame, you did it! You survived! Camille exclaims as she bounds over you and seizes you in a hug so fierce it nearly crushes the breath from your lungs. With this, it feels like a great weight has been lifted from your shoulders. You did it. You're free. Paris is, of course, still in a state of chaos. Then again, you have a hard time remembering a time when it wasn't. You know in the back of your mind that nothing has changed materially. However, you can't help but feel like the dusk air tastes fresher than any other you've experienced. From the courthouse steps, you watch the sun set on Paris, and the city feels like an old friend. No longer do you feel like an intruding stranger. In fact, you feel like you could truly belong here if you choose so. You don't have everything you ever dreamed of, not yet at least. At the same time, you have far more than you started with, and a whole world of possibilities ahead of you. You have your health, your good name, your wits, and of course, your ambition, your desire to make things better for yourself. Looking back, that's gotten you pretty far, hasn't it? Of course, while your story comes to a close, the stories of others will continue to be written or are tragically cut short. A few days later, Johanna was executed. She wove a web to trap you and soon found that she herself could not escape it. Just like Marcel, she made the foolish mistake of getting in your way and suffered a suitable fate for doing so. However, the rest of Paris still marches on, and even as you reassert yourself and consider an appropriate way to celebrate your newly proven innocence. Who knows, maybe you'll actually be the one throwing a party for once. Elizabeth, the great patriot haunted by the malaise that sapped her inspiration and stifled her art. With the nobility's victory over the revolutionaries, Paris eventually returned to something resembling normalcy. However, she still struggles with both her past scandals and the death of artistic inspiration. No! The priests pushed the clergy against Ludovico. The priest pushed into the clergy against his will, who struggled with a higher calling that pulled against his desire to have the love and happiness afforded to the parishioners he himself led in prayer. Back in Rome, he was happy to watch the nobility maintain their grip on power, as it prevented the revolutionaries from bringing more bloodshed to an already troubled nation. He spends his days sending petitions urging His Majesty to use his newfound stability as an opportunity to alleviate the suffering and starvation so rife amongst the common people. He has yet to receive a reply. Honorade, opulent and domineering widow, who still grieved openly for her husband Charles, who passed away all those years ago. Despite her attempts to urge her associates in the bourgeoisie to oppose the nobility's stronghold and power whenever possible, the revolution was crushed regardless. Charged with sedition, she managed to narrowly avoid the guillotine when you helped her hire one of the best defense attorneys in the country. There's Antoine, the fiery revolutionary, who would stop at nothing to bring liberty to France. Even from the beginning, he burned with an ardor that threatened to become a raging inferno. When the dream of the revolution died, he died with it. Armed guards stormed his modest apartment a few weeks ago. Instead of surrendering to the enemies of the people, he died trying to strangle the first man who attempted to arrest him. Pierre, of course, survived the upheaval because men like him have always been well equipped to survive anything that fortune might throw their way. Honest men may find themselves ill-prepared in times of unease, but dishonest ones are quite used to facing danger at every turn. Of course, that's usually because their dangers are entirely their own creation. While he may have been seen toasting to the victory of nobility and tradition, he's also been heard rousing himself about the renewed harsh censorship laws being imposed by the crown. Printing salacious truth is going to be a lot harder for the foreseeable future. Fatima, the enterprising dressmaker who was the font for much of your elegance float, has still managed to keep her shop open. After the nobility's close call with the consequences of their excesses, there's been renewed interest in personal protection. More and more clients have been requesting that Fatima use tightly stitched layers of silk to add armor to their finery. It might even work. At least, it's likely to work for the assassins in question also agrees to use a silk dagger. Regardless, she's happy enough to take their money. Of course, there's Camille, your indefatigable handmaiden, who has been by your side since your first moments in Paris. She is overcome with joy to discover that not only did you survive your trial, but you were intending to stay in Paris. Another turn of fortune, it was discovered that your landlord recently fled Paris in order to avoid prosecution for a staggering list of financial crimes. With no one to claim the building, you're now its de facto owner. So the grand arc of your story comes to a suitable close, with the sun proverbially settling on this chapter of your life. As it thus settles, you find yourself passionately entwined with Honorade, the opulent and domineering widow who was once entirely submerged in grief for her husband Charles, who passed away all those years ago. You both stayed in Paris, weathering the storm of violent rebellion together. A few months later, you sold your newly acquired home for a decent sum of money and moved into Madame Gazelle's estate along with your servants. She makes a big fuss about all the noise you brought with you and has uttered no small amount of devious threats to you on the subject. However, you can tell she actually likes the liveliness you brought back into her home. As always in Paris, life goes on. The curtain falls, finished with any ending. I did not get one of the specialty ones. I think the crown ending, the crown needs to win, and I have to be at the end of Elizabeth's story, and I did not get that. So, alright, that was the game. A little bit shorter than what I thought it was, and I definitely wish we got more actions in, like, day-to-day, because that was kind of limiting. But overall, like, relatively simple, relatively straightforward, and I think I'd enjoy it more in a second playthrough now that I kind of have a better idea what I'm doing. And, like, how to use the mechanics of the game to my advantage. But, yeah. That was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it as well, chat. I think that's where we're going to end it for tonight, though. So, let me see if I can find a raid. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I want to raid Team 4-Star, as nice as they are, as content creators. Let's see what else we got here. Sector 6. Fizzy Bop. Who is Fizzy Bop? Ah, I think I know this person. What about my other Twitch? Do I have anybody there I want to raid? anyone other than me? Nope, I'm the only one playing this game. I think we'll end it without a raid tonight. Not sure. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's raid Fizzy. I think I raided him a while ago. When he was doing like a oh, it's Fitzy Pop. I typed that wrong. But I think I rated him a while back when he was doing a Hollow Cure run. So yeah, seems like a nice streamer. Y'all go give him some love. Let me think. What else we want to say here? Reminder: I do have a Discord. So if you want to hang out and chat more, I've got more information in there. I'll definitely put some interesting images there. I have some ideas for stuff, for funny things. But yes. I also have a YouTube, and I've been slowly uploading content there. I've got a bunch of stuff scheduled out for August and a little bit in September as well, so you can catch a bunch of videos, clips, VODs, things like that there. And then if you want to follow me on any other social network, you can find my listing there. But, yeah. So this will be the last regular stream for the week. I am going to be part of 2 events this weekend, though, that I need to tweet about again in the upcoming days. But the first one is going to be Saturday morning at around 7 a.m. my time, Eastern Daylight. And the second is going to be Sunday afternoon around 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight time. I'll post the times in... both in Discord, and I'll post it to usually post on Twitter. So yeah, should make it relatively easy to find. But yeah, definitely check those out. I'm looking forward to them. A little bit nervous too, but I'm looking forward to that. But anyway, until I see you next time, have a wonderful rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever it is in your part of the world, and take care of yourselves, everyone. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.